We said, I'm the great. It's gonna be late.
Okay, we will call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock and stand over the flag of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Secretary, take the roll call, please.
Pam. Here. Jeff.
Here.
Frank.
Here.
Doug.
Here.
Mary.
Yeah.
Tom.
I'm over here, but late. Okay, I don't know if we have anybody online or not, but during the course of the public meeting here, you may be heard before a vote is cast by the board. I'll acknowledge the public once the motion has been made and discussed by the board and allow for your input. I will also recognize speakers who raise their hand, either online or in public here. Once recognized, the speaker should move to the side of the board table so that comments can be heard. Identify yourselves by name and limit your comments to 2 minutes. Each speaker will have one opportunity to speak on any one agenda item. Once the public comment period is over, you're welcome, Tom. That was fast. Each speaker will have one opportunity to speak on any agenda item. And once the public comment period is over, the public may not provide any further comment or ask additional questions during the remainder of the agenda item being discussed, unless specifically requested by the chair or presiding officer at the meeting. And right now, we'll take public comment on non-public posted agenda items. Are there any comments from the public? If none, we will move on. And we're going to start with candidate interviews. And I see we have all 3 here. Did you guys draw straws out? No. No. How would you like 3 derringers and all going through a separate corner and then turning? No.
Somebody else, last name.
I do alphabetical last name. Okay, let's see.
You're gonna allow all 3 of them to remain in the room while you want to handle it, or rest of it?
Oh, yeah. I think you can.
We're not gonna, they're just gonna be a story about the background.
All done themselves, yeah.
Okay.
So we'll start with Greg. You can come up and
My
introduce
last
yourself.
name is Laura.
Laura would go first.
D-E. That's the other
Yeah.
alphabet.
You want my first name?
Would you like me to go first?
Sure.
Unless you want to change your last name.
No, not a chance.
You like that one.
I do like this one. Where do you want me? This is awkward.
That is fine. They can see you on TV.
Okay.
So
So they can see me on TV. I've been on
Show
TV
your-
before.
show your good side.
Good evening. My name is Laura Drager. I am a realtor by trade, and I was elected to sit on the board of directors, starting with the 2022 term to end in 2025. My reason for applying for the board is that I'd like to fulfill the remainder of my unexpired term. I do really care about the district and the ratepayers, and as you all know, I resigned to be able to interview for the manager's position. I do have some experience with acquisitions. I am familiar with P&Ls, accounting, hiring procedures. I have experience with project management and lots of other business acumen that I think would bring value to the district, the board position. I'm currently a member of the Heights Task Force, Board of Directors on the City Heights and Rec Department. I'm the VP Secretary of the Buildings Association of Realtors. I am on the Board of Directors for the Montana Association of Realtors, and I am a standing committee member of the Government Affairs Committee at the state level as well as at the local level. I'm also a National Association of Realtors committee member on the Public Policy Coordinating Committee. I have a unique skill set based on the knowledge of the district, based on past experience and intricate things that we discussed and worked on. I'm familiar with Robert's Rules of Order and legislative issues. Previous board experience, County Water District, Buildings Association of Realtors. I served since 2019 to now. Montana Association of Realtors, Board of Directors, 2020 until now. I've been on the City Parks and Rec Board since 2021. I'm also the first woman president of the Harley Owners Group for Montana and for the state of Montana, and which I thought that was quite an accomplishment. I'm also past president of the Montana Association of Female Executives. So do you have any questions for me?
I have a question for you both. Go ahead.
How do you feel about consolidation of the city district?
My feelings on that are if it's something that the board and the district agree to, I'm willing to look at it as an option. My personal feelings are that we may have been a little premature. We're just hiring a new manager. I think that, and we just got the legal on board. I think that might have been a little bit premature, but I think we have the right people in place working on that for the board and the district.
Are there any other questions from board members? Wayne?
Lord, I know you served this with on the financial statements and everything else. What do you think can be different, or are there changes that we're looking at that we need to look at for the retirement benefits that you've seen?
My personal opinion is that we should find a new provider, someone that we have a single point of contact, reduce the expenses that we are paying. Right now, we have 3 companies involved, and I think that that's just too many levels. And it gives the opportunity when there is an error made for people to point fingers and not take accountability for mistakes that are made.
Okay. One last call. Any other board members have?
One last comment I'd like to make then is I think that I would be a good fit for the board. I have a pretty even temperament, and I'm open to different points of view. And I believe that we can disagree and still be friendly with each other.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We'll move on to Gregor. Greg.
Good evening, my name is Greg Offenbach, and I've been a resident of the Heights for the past 35 years. I'm interested in seeing the Heights grow, not only residentially, but commercially, and water is a very essential part of that. And so that's basically why I'm interested in joining. I think I have some skills that could be helpful. I've been on worked with 2 other boards. I've been on the credit union boards for 33 years now. The credit union I'm with now has actually gone through 5 mergers. So I have some experience with mergers of organizations. I'm also on the, what they call the ALM committee, which is the asset liability management. My college degree happens to be accounting. And so I can get familiar with financial statements fairly quickly. And I'm also working with volunteer with the Billings Senior Citizen Center, Billings Senior Citizens Inc. Doing consulting with them and volunteer work. But one thing I've learned being on boards, particularly at the credit union, is boards are asked to do due diligence with what they're looking at to find the best ways for the members, the customers, the employees. And when you brought up a merger with the city water, it's an option that I think should be looked at. I don't know, until I see more data from the engineering folks, I'm not going to make a decision one way or the other, but I think it does need to be looked at carefully. And there's a lot of details to it. And but anyway, due diligence is part of what a board member does. I retired from Yellowstone County after 27 years as the facility superintendent. And with that, I got involved with all kinds of maintenance issues, new construction, remodels. The last project I was involved with new construction with the addition of the women's unit on the detention facility. We did a request for qualifications on that. I went through that whole process, as well as after we picked an architect and engineer, the bidding with the contractors. So I was part of that happen. We did one other remodel project in the courthouse on the 4th floor where we remodeled for the judges' chambers and the courtrooms. So I've been through bidding processes, invitation for bids. I wrote a lot of my own invitation for bids during my career. As the facility person, I got involved with practically every county department, so I have a wide range of experience working with a lot of different people. And occasionally the city water department came up and met with them. So I have a little bit of background with that. I also was involved with the project with Cox Construction and Sanderson Stewart with that 27th Street water replacement that they did, what, 5 or 6 years ago. So I've been involved with contract administration, road specs, did my own hiring of my employees and managing them. I worked under the commissioners, and I had 3 different budgets that I was responsible for. And when you are responsible for a county budget by the MCAs, you're personally liable if you go over budget. So there's some risk to being the department head. And but anyway, I managed 3 different departments, plus I got to spend on other people's money too, which was kind of nice. So I attended all the budget hearings with the commissioners, and they were very good about giving budgets. So I prepared budgets and see, I'm familiar with computer systems. We did quite a number of fiber optic projects where we bored and buried fiber optics. But I'm familiar with requests for proposals, requests for qualifications, invitation for bids, and those things. So I worked with a variety of diverse groups too throughout the county. So I think that's basically it. Do you have any questions? Yes. Pam, go ahead.
I'm just in keeping with the philosophy that we should ask everybody the same questions. You answered the consolidation one, but are there, you've been at a number of meetings, are there things that you would recommend that the district consider for changing?
For what?
For changing? Are there
Oh,
changes
for
that
the
you?
merging?
No, for any change. Is there anything that you see that you would recommend that we consider? Because for the merger, you answered that question,
Okay.
but are there any other changes that you would see that we should think about?
Well, I'd have to go through more of the past minutes to find out. Jeff brought up some good comments about the retirement program, and it sounds like that really needs to be looked at in depth. And simplify and see just where it's at. And, that's a big one. And it just doesn't hurt to look at all the different things. That's part of due diligence of any board. Is to try and identify areas that could be improved. And, so I would have to become a little more familiar to probably answer your question in more detail.
Right, I know, it's complex.
I would have to say, I'll have to learn a lot about water distribution. You know, I know some about water systems, but, I would have to learn more about the water business.
Are there any other questions? Win?
I like the emerging questions. Thank you.
Okay, retirement. Thank you very much, Chris.
Okay.
Appreciate it. And last, but definitely not least, Mr. Bill Willoughby.
My name is Phil Olberg and I was born and raised in North Dakota. Graduated from UND in Grand Forks. When I lived in North Dakota, I'm 100% Norwegian, and the Norwegians always used to get it. Grass. So when I moved to Montana, in North Dakota was out there. And so to combat that, I've always responded by saying, well, when I left North Dakota and moved to Montana, the IQ went up in both states, so. Anyway, I came to Billings in '69. I worked for another company that was a division. We started a separate division having to do with water treatment and so on and so forth for boilers, cooling towers, and so on and so forth. So I traveled the state selling water chemicals and so on and so forth. Company I worked for in North Dakota, we were somewhat involved in the pool business. And we used to sell supplies to the swimming pool company or swimming pool municipalities and so on and so forth. When I moved to Montana and started into the swimming pool business, which was in 1971, I started building residential pools. I was in the commercial pool building business, residential pool building business, but mostly commercial pool business for 36 years. My experience has been nothing but business all my life. And so I know what profit and loss is. I've been down both roads. And anyway, but swimming pools, a lot of people don't fully understand swimming pools, but I work with a lot of city engineers, or I should say engineers. I've worked with a lot of city engineers. I've worked with a lot of municipalities all over the state, calling on them, working with swimming pools. We designed and built the swimming pool in Roundup, Montana. We designed and built the swimming pool in Chester, Montana. We designed and built the pool in Harleton, Montana. And so we've worked with architects and engineers, or I have for all these years, with specifications. I'm not an engineer myself, but I work very closely with the state, putting on pool schools all over the state. Work with the Department of, with the Health Department, and also with the department that was bacteria and so on. I can't remember what it was. The one gentleman that was on the head of that department that we traveled with, we used to call it spas. We used to put on seminars about spas too at the same time. We were talking about pools. And so anyway, he used to call spas cream of bacteria soup. And so, so anyway, so I've had a lot of experience in that. I've also had a lot of experience in real estate, buying and selling. I helped, or I bought a subdivision out by Shepherd. The county told me when I went out to look at it and perhaps buy it, Dick Highlander, if anybody's familiar with it, Dick Highlander used to be with the county. He told my son, he says, tell your dad to just forget about the whole project. He said, it's a mess and you don't want to get involved in it. Well, I went to the state and they told me the same thing, don't get involved with it. And I know enough about water and stuff to be dangerous. So we managed to work with an engineer, develop a septic system, centralized septic system. We put in force mains, we put in the Greenfield, the main Greenfield for the association. I've been president and director of the association for years and years, and the homeowners association. And so anyway, I have a lot of experience with that. We also ended up working with the Billings ditch system. And so we take water from the Billings Bench ditch at the end of our subdivision, and that water then, when I put in the force mains and whatnot for the septic system, we put in pipes and plumbing for irrigation water for the irrigations for all of the lots. So we have one pump that furnishes water to the back of every lot in the subdivision. And so that was pretty unique in the fact that now it costs $127 a year for all the irrigation water that they can use for their lawns in the summer. All the other systems are cisterns, so water is hauled into those facilities or into those residences. But I was able to work with the engineer on the project, and he was an engineer that was flexible. He listened to me and I listened to him, and we managed to come up with a pretty decent system. So anyway, that's my experience. Like I said, I know business. I know how to read financial statements. I got a degree in business, it's called Bachelor of Science in Public Administration. And so I have a huge knowledge of accounting and so on and so forth, basic knowledge. I'm not a CPA by any means. I'm not an engineer either, but I know how to deal with filtration systems. I've been involved with a manufacturing rep firm that sold chlorination systems to municipalities and other facilities, so I'm familiar with all of that. It's kind of interesting in the water chemistry and swimming pools. A lot of people don't think too much about it, but you know, the swimming pool, a lot of them hold 150 to 200,000 gallons of water. They require treatment. Yes, chlorine is very acidic. And what happens is that the water turns acidic, and if it isn't balanced, it starts sucking all of the copper and stuff out of the heat exchangers. Mothers and children with bleached hair all of a sudden discover that they have aqua colored hair, and they come out of their swimming pool, so they're exposed for using bleach. What are we going to do with their hair? Take the bleach blondes, whatever you want to call them. So we get a lot of calls about that to try to get the water back in balance again, so that the water wasn't aggressive and sucking constantly out of the water. So anyway, like I said, I've traveled the state. I've worked with a lot of architects and engineers. I designed the plumbing and the filtration systems and everything for the municipal pools. Working with the architects, we did a lot of work with Lloyd City of Roundup. We did that project with them, and they are the lowest per capita income county in the state, and they raised all of the money to build a swimming pool. We saved them. We built a pool for about $600,000 at that time, this years ago, and it would have cost them about $2 million if they did run the other route. So we were able to engineer, do the negotiation for installing it and all that stuff. So we saved them a lot of money. Same thing with the city of Chester. So anyway, that's my background, my experience. So any questions that you might have for me?
Questions from the board, Lee?
Yeah, what's your thoughts about consolidation in the city with this district?
My first blush, and I don't know everything about it. I'd have to do more research and everything. My first blush is that there's kind of a duplication of services, duplication of charges. I was looking at my water bill that we get from the water association here. I was looking at my water bill that we get from the city. Then we get charged for 2,000 gallons from the city on our water bill, which I don't understand. And then we get charged to the association here. So that's one of the questions that comes to my mind is why. That's why we do that. Or why is that the way? When you're in business, you know what it's like to get a bill, and you know what it's like to sell something for a profit or sell something for a loss and so on and so forth. Okay, so when the city of Billings bills, the city of Billings water, as I understand it, it's sold to the district here, and the district has to put something on it in order to take care of its expenses. So there's, in my opinion, a duplication of services. You have to have, like, not everybody pays their bills, so somebody has to compensate for that. Somebody has to maintain different things, and that has to be compensated for. You have to have employees, and that has to be compensated for. So anyway, that's my first blush here without not studying the entire situation, but my first blush is that I'd like to see perhaps at this point. Jump here.
Any further questions from the board?
I just have a comment. So you're getting a bill from the city and from the district for the same house? Is that?
Yeah, we've lived in the Heights on St. Andrews. I've lived there since,
Okay.
we've lived there for about 14 years.
So I think the city bill, that 2,000 assumes that that's your water use in the winter and that's your wastewater charge.
They charge for a sewer charge.
Beyond the 2,000. Have you cut? Okay, that's odd.
Well, I looked at it just before I came here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not
One-
arguing.
I was gonna bring both of them with me when I came, and I thought, I don't know if this is my place to do this now or not. So,
James, go ahead.
Yeah, why do you wanna be on the water board? Maybe that's not fair, but, I guess it comes down to the consolidation. Is that the reason why you wanna be on the water board?
no, I wanna see the Heights become, the Heights has not been exactly a popular thing as far as the state of governance is concerned. I mean, you look at the swimming pool that the Harvest Church built and the problems that they had trying to get the city to take it over and so on and so forth. And so the Heights area and why that's an issue, I cannot tell you. All I know is that we are not, nobody likes to come from the west end to the Heights to buy something. I mean, we go from the Heights to the west end to buy things. What's wrong with that picture? Okay, the other picture I see is that now that we've got this bypass coming around the Heights, or going around the Heights, how is that going to affect trade and businesses and everything here? So what are we gonna have to do to attract more businesses up here? And so those are my concerns. I mean, I wanna see a healthy Heights area. And so and again, being a business, I mean, that's what I like to do, is I like to see things happen. I like to see things go on. I see a lot of, look at the Stadium Club. I mean, that's been empty for, it says it's sold now. But it's been on the market forever. And so there's a lot of other vacant places too, but there's not most of the other place to be able to do business, apparently.
Thank you, Mr. Lowbray. And I don't know, well, the board would like to move in right now, or should we wait till new business day for nominations?
New business. Sean will be on there.
We'll wait until new business. Okay, approval of minutes. We have a motion to approve the minutes for April 8th, 10th, and 17th. So moved by Tom, is there a second?
One second.
Second, by me, thank you. Discussion. Carol?
Just one note on the April 17th minutes. Randall Hurley is spelled two different ways within two different lines. One is spelled correctly, one is spelled incorrectly. So if we could correct the spelling on that. And then the other issue that I brought up by email, but in the April meeting, it was brought up again from the March meeting that we didn't have a price quote for the emergency callouts. And and Josh, you were recorded in the minutes as having said you do it the next day, and we don't have it yet. So I guess the thing is it seems to me that the staff needs to read the minutes and follow through on what you've committed to. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. We're going into the third month after that was promised, requested and promised.
Any other discussion on the minutes? Any public discussion? Seeing none, we'll call for a vote. All in favor of accepting the minutes for April 8th, 10th, and 17th, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I'm gonna say nay unless the spelling's corrected.
Say one nay. Okay, we'll move to consent agenda. Monthly prepaid bills for approval. A motion to approve payment of those bills.
Are those the ones that get sent out?
Those are the ones that are sent out by Susan, yes.
Okay, so I want to separate out, 53,950. And, 53,951, I guess. I thought it was 851, but it's, interstate
53,950.
53,950.
So what was the other one?
It was 53,951.
Yeah. They moved to separate 53,950 and 951. Is there a second to that?
And it's really don't have.
You don't
to-
have to have separation. We also,
You don't have to make a motion. So
We don't have a motion to accept
You-
approval of them.
you can separate without any motion, right?
Yeah.
Just-
Okay,
you just
we'll
separate it.
separate that. Is there any movement to pay the bills?
and then separation. I'm assuming that this is where we separate out the Randall Hurley bill.
Mhm. Anyone else for separation of the consent agenda? Can I have a
Make a motion to approve the rest of the consent agenda.
second on that?
Second.
Seconded by Director Esplin. Discussion. Pam?
I have asked for a long time that I'd like to see the check record. And I know that not every board member would like to see it, but, and I did provide the example that 2 new cars were purchased for the manager and general manager. It's not recorded in any resolution, it's not in any minutes, it was not in any check register, that was a long time ago. But unless you see the check register for all the checks that are written, you have no idea. And that is our fiduciary duty, understand what's happening. We certainly don't need page after page after page. Before, we were getting a lot of complex stuff from the accounting system, but we need a list of the check register included in the board packet. So I will vote against it. I will vote against the consent agenda going forward unless I can see the full list of bills that were paid on a monthly basis.
And you saw what Susie sent out, and that's probably what you're gonna see every month.
No, I don't want to see the list of bills that she types on in Excel. I want to see the check register.
Okay,
And-
this is, excuse me, but this is for approval of those bills.
Which were not in the board packet, right? It
I
went to the,
said the board pack was totally mixed up. I apologize for that. But you did get an
I
email.
understand, I got
Okay,
it, but the public
bear,
didn't.
bear with me. Those are month-to-month bills that get paid. They're generally paid not by check, but by credit card. That's why we do the pre-approval. Now, you're not gonna see a check for that. You're gonna see a check to MasterCard or to Visa.
There's a lot more bills than that on Susie's list. There's 4 bills to MasterCard,
Correct.
and there's many more bills.
And you see those, and that's what the board questions, so we don't spend 10 to 20 minutes discussing each and every one of the bills. And when you bring up and dirty the water, so to speak, by something that has happened years ago,
Within the last 2 years.
yeah. There was a resolution, and I'm just gonna read it. The board hereby approves the purchase of 2 2017 Chevy Silverados for the price of $25,391 each, and 1 2017 Chevy Malibu for $21,452 from Hardin Chevrolet.
And are those the white cars that are out there? There were blue cars.
Yes.
Are those 2017 cars?
Yes,
Okay, so what were the blue cars? That were there when Payne was hired?
You took a
Those were, the old service trucks were blue. And then when we replaced the service trucks, they were replaced with newer white because white was cheaper. You had the special order blue.
Okay, it's a different question, but the manager and assistant manager cars used to be a small blue car. But okay, fine.
we're just gonna cut to the chase. If it does not deal with what's in front of the board and in recent history, we can't change history.
I'm not asking for
And
that.
we're not
What I'm asking for is a copy of the check register in the board packet. Otherwise, I don't feel that I've got the full picture of how the board is spending money.
If you look at the bank statement, you can see,
I don't have a bank statement.
yes, you do. Well, it's the register.
There's a payroll register. There's not a bank, there's not a register of the bills that were paid.
It's more than payroll.
Okay, not in my board packet, at least not
Okay.
on Friday.
Yeah, we discussed this before, and we decided that if there was anything on the check register that needed to be done, would you come into the office so you can look at it? So we don't have every single check on the registry. So we've made that quite clear 3 times already. Check at registry is open to any board members to take a look at it on his own convenience rather than putting it in the board.
And the register that's in here, the county register, breaks everything down, Pam, by account number. And we all have the account numbers. And you can go through those and find out what they're for. Director Esmer.
Just so we can try to put this issue to rest. This resolution was for 2 Chevy Silverado, which are pickups. And 1 Malibu sedan. Do we have just 2 Silverado pickups and only 1 sedan?
No, that one was for the white car that I'm driving.
We have an additional sedan?
The one that he's driving was purchased a year later.
And where's the resolution for that?
That one, I didn't print, I got that and then we moved on to other things.
Will you produce it at the next meeting, please? I'd like to, it's better to answer these questions and put them behind us than it is to keep dragging over. That's just my opinion on it. I'd like to get it settled so we can move on to the future. Well, if you've got the records, please produce them.
Yeah, it was passed.
No.
I don't think so. Was it? Oh, the minutes were passed.
Yep. Consent agenda wasn't passed
Yeah, Tom.
Well, I like seeing all the bills. I can go to the city's website for every city council meeting and I can see every bill. electricity, whatever, pages after pages. I would like to see the same thing here. We do not see electric bills. There's a lot of bills that are paid that are not in weekly statements Susie sends out. They were deemed to be necessary. However, I still would like to see them. I think it's important to be able to see them. Then we're not seeing them. We didn't see them last month. We didn't see them this month. I still want to see the listing of all the bills so that it's transparent. Nobody can say, well, you paid this or that. It's in the cost of packet every meeting, please.
Okay, for the,
So I'll be a no one, except for the consent agenda as well.
for the pre-approved, we did there. I actually will put Tom and Pam in charge of writing a policy.
We
So-
used to have all the bills every month, you know.
Establish a policy as to what you want. So it's down in writing. So we don't get, he said, she said, we used to do it this way. It is a policy. Bring that policy to the board as soon as possible.
That was the policy. I thought that we had decided on, was that November? That we had the little committee meeting, it was framed. You were part of that also. And then. You were. You, and I thought that's what we were doing.
Was there a written policy on it?
That's how I
Or was it just verbal?
think that was to try it and figure out, because I thought the goal was to shrink the agenda package as from. The volume that it was. Let us know if you want.
With that, I would like to add, we have to move away from one big package. We need to have that package consist of items that are on the agenda so that we can go in and check without going through 200 pages of documents that are not in any specific order. If we need to go to Morrison Merrily to ask how that is done, we need to do that. Can be done. Discussion on 53,950.
Wait, we need to pass the rest of them. We haven't had a vote on it.
We haven't had a vote. We haven't had one. So we're
We
gonna.
have a motion and a second, so we should close that out before we move.
We've been discussing everything else on the consent.
We have,
Any comments on consent agenda for pre-approval in the public? Do a roll call, vote please on the, what's left.
No. Jeff,
yes,
me,
Yes.
Frank,
Yes,
Tom,
No,
Doug.
Yes. Motion passes. Now we'll move to the ones that have been segregated out. We'll start with 53,950, Frank.
all right,
listen, is it in the packet?
It was in the,
8:35.
page 35. So anyway, this is Interstate Engineering and I would like to see them itemize their bills a little bit more than what they do, so a person knows what they're charging for what. Like, they got in here, line item is review AC pipe sample lab testing results with district operator. They charged us to do that and we got nothing out of it. That doesn't sit very good with me. I don't know how much it was, but we got the results and we questioned the company that did it and they kind of refined what the results were without a whole bunch of numbers. And then we get this bill from Interstate Engineering and it says review AC pipe sample lab testing. I don't know how they can charge us for that without us getting
any response or any results out of it. That's my only complaint on that one, other than the fact that I would like to see a lot more itemization on their bills. What goes for where, they got all these places lined out here, but they don't say how much they spent on what, how much time on each one. Okay, the second one,
53951.
yeah, it's, it had to do with, the meeting that I called for the Heights Water, the city, and Performance Engineering, who was the engineer for the city on the, stormwater on Wicks Lane. And, Western Municipal was there, Terry was there representing them. And, that's who it was supposed to be. And so we had three from Heights Water, myself, Tom, and Josh. For the city, it was Debbie Mailing, Tyler Westrope. The Performance Engineering, who were the engineers that are gonna do the water line. There was two of them for Performance Engineering, and then Terry Sutherland was the lone representative for municipal, Western Municipal. And Interstate Engineering had three people there. And they weren't really even involved in the meeting, and then Lowell sent out a synopsis of what happened at the meeting, and it follows pretty much verbatim what I sent out after the meeting was over. And there's no list, specific list of how much they charged us for that. Why did it take three people to come to that meeting that we had to pay engineers for three? And so that's why I wanted them held. And whatever. I won't vote to pay them until they find out how much it is, but everybody else can vote for it if they want, so. That's my concern about it.
Director Esper?
Well, I would like the general manager to discuss with this firm more transparency in their billing. I would like to see the dates that the work is done. You know, I don't need to see their entire timesheet, but the date the work that's done and the name of the person that's doing it. If they are rotating people through these various assignments and using them to educate their new staff, you know, that's costing us money in terms of, you got different people all the time having to come up to learn what's going on, and then they move on to some other project, and then we're paying for training the new engineers. I don't know if that's going on or not. There's absolutely no way for us to know whether that's going on or not. But if they have to report the date that the work is done and the name of the person that's doing it and the rate, instead of just the rate we're being charged and an hourly rate, you know, then we will be in a position to have more confidence that we're getting steady service from a steady group of people. And that's what I think a big customer like us deserves, is some transparency on what the charges are. So I agree with Director Ewald, a $12,000 bill related to that work when they ended up not delivering anything but a one-page summary report. Ridiculous, in my opinion. I'm not going to vote no.
Okay, actually kind of rolled it by 53, 950 and 951 together, so. If we want to move on that.
I would like to reinforce what Tom said. I'm fine if they talk to the water operator, but they certainly shouldn't bill us. The water operator has no decision-making ability in terms of replacing that water main. The evaluation on the AC pipe was a criticism from the water operators on public forums, attacking individual board members. And then you've got a water operator that goes to the engineers and runs up a bill. I mean, that can't be. So that's again, a management responsibility that you need to make clear that they're not allowed to talk to our staff to charge for it. If they want to talk to our staff, that's on their time, not on ours. They can talk to you and Josh, but not to just anybody.
Oh, go ahead. Josh and I, we have had, meetings with state engineering yesterday. On the Northwestern project, and I have full reports for the board members. I pick them up at lunch. And, I have looked at, went through our computer and see how much we paid interstate to date, and it's like $260,000. And I suggest that Josh and I read every one of those invoices to figure out if the hourly rates they charge depending on senior or lower staff, just like attorneys do. So we can review that. And the bills in question will report back to the board what we sign. Unfortunately, all of this stuff is before my time, so I won't bring somebody else. But we will review it to the satisfaction of the board. So you get the material, and we'll get our findings in more detail. Thank you. By the way, I have reported to their regional manager that we are a little upset at them, so they know that we will review things in more detail. And that is in our budget presentation to about the future projects, the capital improvement projects that they helped us identify for the next 20 years at $35 million. So you will have more details on that. Good. Thomas.
As far as asking for more detailed bills, I'm against that. That's gonna be time, and we're gonna have to pay that, but that's a higher bill yet. We get task orders. The task orders are broke down into many different categories. Each one has a price attached. The rates that are gonna be charged for the people working on it are in the task order. We know what's going on in advance if you read the task order. It's all broke down. As far as looking at this piece of pipe, at the last meeting, I kept saying, what did we get? What is the left of the pipe? We haven't seen a bill yet for this pipe evaluation. What value is it? Because it doesn't tell us anything. So, Josh, did you take that to Interstate to try to find out what it meant? Is that the operator that took it to Interstate?
I would assume so, yes.
Well, I'm glad you did. I would like more information out of it too. Did we get it? Does it mean anything to us? I don't understand the constant complaining on the interstate bills. I just behooves me, and you read the task orders, they're quite clear as to what's gonna happen. And what the rate's gonna be for each thing that they're gonna do, and the people involved, and the rates that each engineer, planner, etc. can charge. We've gone way past the times of these task orders. When we approved the last task order in May last year, it was supposed to take a year to be done. We now know it won't be done until October, and Peyton Berkshire alone allowed the expenditure of time. As far as I know, they can't charge us any more than the original task order, even though it's gonna be over a year. And these people are gonna get the same hourly rate because it's in the task order. A year later.
Tom, if you look at this bill, can you tell me what task order this is on?
Which bill do you look at?
53, 951. How do you make hide nor hair out of, anything in there?
Construction, design, bidding, emergency line repair. That's not a task order.
No.
That's the resolution Frank asked us to pass so that we could get an emergency, complete design for the emergency Wex line pipe replacement. And they were out there the next Thursday morning by 9 o'clock
Mhm.
doing survey work. I lived there. I go out, I'm thinking I'm talking to performance engineering people. No, it's interstate. The next day, they dropped everything and got on an emergency repair. And this is what we're paying for, here. What we asked them to do.
But is
Drop
there,
everything and push it out.
is there a resolution or any kind of number that says anything on that?
Right on the top, construction,
Okay.
design, bidding of emergency main line
And
replacement.
how many hours works there?
Pardon me,
How many hours?
there's a lot of hours here.
For that? There's nothing for anything else?
I don't know.
Well, that's my point, is that you've got administration, you've got engineering 2, engineering 4, engineering 8, tech 3, tech 7, or 7, yeah. We don't know where that time is, and that's what Jeff was alluding to. We have no idea where
That's
they,
all for the Wix line stuff.
so what's all the rest of this stuff getting built on here?
That was,
There's a water modeling for verification of pipe size. There's draft, ground basin mapping, bid plans and details, site visits and meetings. Review,
Site
DEQ.
visits and meetings was that April 2nd meeting when they showed up with 3 people. And I don't know how many hours they accounted for that, because it doesn't say the meeting lasted 5 minutes short of an hour.
You know, there was 133 miles, 153 miles charged on it, so they must have had quite a number of vehicles running over there. Or from out of town coming in and visiting. That's the kind of thing, if we're doing our fiduciary duty, we need answers on.
And Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead, Director.
I understand Director Zerbulun's reference to, previous boards establishing task orders. But, I do believe we need more specifics to measure progress against those task orders. Because we have not seen any deliverables on those task orders. As he knows, as we all know. Now we get a report that, last minute, we get a paper dump from them to the general manager and the assistant. I haven't seen the paper dump yet. We haven't had any ability to look at it. The contract was supposed to be complete this month. We hear just last month that, somebody waived it. I still haven't seen any. I'd like to see the communication where that waiver occurred, whether it's email or paper letter. I'd like that produced for the next meeting.
Asked for that for this meeting.
Did we?
You did.
So I'm asking for it again. But that's the problem with the pattern here. We keep asking for information and we still do not get it delivered. We don't get it delivered from the staff. We don't get it delivered from the vendors. We get passive resistance, and it's getting pretty frustrating.
Okay, so that was, excuse me, Jeff, that was a paper document for extension of task order.
We've got 29 as a PER.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean,
For the DEQ waiver, right? That,
well, no, it was.
So the DEQ waiver was for the piece on Wix.
okay, but we didn't see that one either. It's not,
The DEQ waiver was through performance in the city. It had nothing to do with interstate. Right. After that, April 2nd meeting, everything went through the city, performance engineering and Western Municipal. And I don't know what date we called off interstate engineering on that, but they were overseas. And I don't know what date that was. I don't have a record of that.
If we would just get the questions answered, then we don't have to keep asking.
So for those two, I make a motion that, until we get it itemized specifically for that AC pipe. And for why there was 3 people at that meeting and how many hours we got charged times 3 people. For justification, I make a motion, that part of it doesn't get paid.
Second,
5391.
53,950.
Both of them. The one has to do with the April 2nd meeting, and the other one has to do with the AC pipe.
Bear in mind that there's a 1.5% per month. 5. For investments over 60 days.
The rest of it gets paid. I want, I thought, how much you're taking us to the cleaners on those 2 items.
So the 2 items that you're most,
The AC review, AC pipe review. And the 3 people that showed up at the April 2nd meeting and how many hours times 3 they charged us for. Because like I said, the meeting was 5 minutes short of an hour.
okay. So do we have the ability to break that out?
No, we don't, we'd have to go back to them and they'd have to break it out.
Yeah, well, I have no idea.
I'll second the motion.
Yeah,
So you're paying one bill, but one of itemize the other one.
No, both of them, there's an item in both of them. The second one has to do with the meeting on April 2nd, and the other one has to do with that AC pipe. So you can give them a call tomorrow morning and say, please itemize these 2 deals out and subtract it and send it to us for our next meeting, and then we'll pay everything besides that right now, but we want to have a look at how you're charging us for those 2 different items.
okay, discussion on the motion. Yeah,
Yes, it isn't just that though. I mean, Doug asked to see dates and times. All of this stuff to come up with those bills, all of the itemization exists. They should be able to produce it and they shouldn't charge us for it. Billing is their responsibility. The attorney does not bill you for his billing. And they should not be billing either. So it was requested a long time ago. I mean, when Susie sent out the bills, if the staff could have taken that back to interstate engineering and saying, even though you don't have a consensus, people are asking for a lot more detail, and then we could have paid it. But it just has to be something different from them.
public discussion. Seeing none, Tom,
I'll be voting no on the motion.
we're gonna call for a vote right now, so
But we was in discussion. We're done with discussion.
I just vote for public discussion.
Okay,
Roll call vote, please.
No,
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 Jeff,
Yes,
Frank,
Yes,
and yes.
guys on that. Tom,
make a substitute motion that we pay the interstate, 2 interstate bills.
can't make a substitute.
Well, I'll make a motion that we pay the 2 interstate bills.
I second it.
moved by Tom, second by me, pay the bills. Is that with any questions to them or?
No.
No questions to them at all.
I'd like the discussion on that.
Yeah, we are discussing it right now.
And the reason is, I know there's some confusions on the bills. Maybe this time forward, we can work forward with that without getting charged and I keep the goodwill with Interstate at this point, but we will ask them for what they want on the details of that. And so I would like to continue to maintain that goodwill and then just tell them from now on, we want more details.
So would you be willing to put in that motion paying under protest? No,
Pay that bill. Just ask them nicely to make sure we give more detail.
Investment.
I'm gonna oppose the motion and vote against it, because I think this firm has been taking the goodwill and, of this district and the work for granted. And is not used to providing any detail or definition or transparency, and I think it's time to stop by sending them a message by refusing to pay a bill and getting them to reform their billing practices, so that we can make sure that the money that our customers are paying to us is actually a viable work.
Any other discussion?
I mentioned earlier that Josh and I would sit down and review the bill and invoices. But I also like to make a recommendation, a policy within Heights Water, that any bill sent to us, you have to itemize it. And number one, it has to be referred to a tax. It can't just be a bill out of nowhere, but a bill that we can reference in our documentation. And I mentioned that I reviewed all the bills that we have paid, and there's no comments in the account as far as the task or the job and that sort of thing. And in this free world of ours, you can pay any bill you want. It's up to you. It's a value proposition. And I think what have happened here, I just joined less than a month ago. And the former general manager, I've been gone since October. So you have a lapse of time where somebody could possibly not associate a certain bill with a certain task and how they operated and all that. But it makes good business sense to have people bill you for work that you ask them to do and make a reference to that task order and number. And we should issue a purchase order for that work to be done. That's very simple. So we can implement that policy and make a recommendation to the board. Once Josh and I, we sit down with them, and they might have some recommendation too. So we can clarify this easy, I think.
All of this was before Bill's time. He's plainly aware, painfully aware of the situation. And I'm positive he's gonna take care of it. But our bills for engineering are not of the line. When you look at the city of Billings to the end of March, the city of Billings paid $1,200,000 in engineering in the water department. Just in the water department. We spent $161,000 in the same 9 months. And you're saying it's out of line? Compared to what? I want to keep interstate engineering's goodwill. If we can make some minor policy changes, great. I don't want to have this bill go over.
I really concur with Bo on purchase orders.
Yeah, maybe that's what I
Purchase orders should be a must for anything. That way,
Right. Whoever's
whoever's writing that purchase order out is putting the account number it's gonna be charged to. No questions, and he's signing or darn thing. Any other comments from the board?
Just the,
Yeah.
Just-
You have to get
just a
taller or
fact.
stand up or something.
I know, I got a light on my hair, how's that? But I'm just thinking, you know, it's not that complicated, we're at 1.5 million. Most of the times when we look at the bills, we kind of know where they're going to. For example, Tom said, you know, we're looking at Wicks Lane bills and stuff like that, but okay, for clarification for people that feel that the engineering firm needs to have a task order, I agree. That way we can refer it that way, but the way it's been, it was not that difficult. 191,000 is really not that much compared to what the city is doing. And yes, people come onto the board all of a sudden and they're left with the headlights and the deer because they don't know what's going on. So I'm with Tom. I want to keep that goodwill, but let's move forward and get the task order. So can we make an amendment on that? The director, the task orders be put on there, or do we need to let them figure that out?
Let them figure it out.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I think that would be more than one recommendation here, but based on, I've been coming with this 50 years, I would have specific purchase order tasks. How can you audit this information if there is no reference? So you need to reference it, and anybody, third party should be able to do the audit, not an expert in water. Anybody in business should be able to audit our numbers. And the auditor, by the way, are not expert in business, they're expert in numbers. And if we don't put the numbers on these jobs, you can't trace anything. So it's just normal business sense. Task order with numbers and associated. And I think we're probably not far away from that. We just need clarification, and Josh will help me and Brad at Interstate. So I almost said consider it done, but we will come up with something black and white that I think you're going to like.
Public discussion, any discussion there? Okay, roll call vote. If you'd like to repeat the motions, Tom?
Motion is to pay these two interstate bills.
Me,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
George,
Yes.
Frank,
No.
Jeff,
No,
Pam.
No.
That is in a tie.
bring them back next month.
Real easy to separate those two items.
Randall Hurleyville.
Randall Hurley bill is next on the separate items.
I'll pay you that. Oh, there we go. 37.
That's the $250 that they charge to change documents. Tom?
And I'll pay them separated. And I make a motion, we do not pay this bill. This bill was to amend our contract to allow BS payments that were made to continue so that the contract was reworded. We asked for amendments a long time ago, and we're told we'd wait, do it in September. They could have been part of this same thing. And it could have all been done for $250. We are not amending, we voted not to amend, so this bill can't be paid. That's why I make the motion to not pay it.
Second.
We'll move to a second to pay the Randall Hurley bill. Discussion.
I get it.
Hmm?
Are they gonna continue to keep billing us on this thing, or what is it?
We're still doing the work.
Okay, just wondered. So that the $250, if we don't pay it and then they're still gonna bill us for it, what does that mean? What's the consequence of that?
Mr. Chair.
I am not sure. Go ahead, Director Esposito.
Well, okay. It's a little bit off of the motion, but could you bring us up to date on the attorney had requests for information? Have we provided them that stuff? Are we gonna get a report or a recommendation from the lawyer that we asked?
We did get a recommendation. Pull it up here for you.
Is that the one you sent out by email earlier? Well, that was a request for more information. The way I understand
Yeah, you want to do contracts.
it. Right, you want the
Doug
contract.
said you already had them.
And we got him the contracts. Okay, I have reviewed the information provided to date. The facts as I understand them are as follows. The county water district,
It's a long letter. We don't need to read it
Okay.
out loud.
alrighty. And just going to the end here. He did not, at this point in time, this letter was sent on May 5th. Did not have the agreements between the district and Randall and Hurley or census.
Well, when we get to new business, I'll bring up the question of forming a litigation committee. So let me provide them some direction.
Can only do what I'm asked to do on there, so.
I understand.
Tom,
I
was there a second on your?
I seconded it.
Jeff, seconded. Can you repeat your motion, please?
to not favor Randall Hurley bill.
Any other discussion? No?
Well, the only comment I would make, the attorney's letter indicates that the rewriting the contract was approved by Susie. Which, I mean, there's just no authority for that to happen, and they should know that.
Like, it wasn't Susie. I was the one that requested. I emailed Daily.
We signed it. The
Okay.
documents are over, I signed them.
Okay, I don't know, I just read the attorney's email, and that's what he said, what was in there.
Any other discussion? Public discussion? Seeing none? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Okay. Okay. Managers report. Monthly report and then proposed budget. You can take that in whatever order you want, and you can consolidate them.
Thank you. Yeah, we have the monthly report, which will include the financial for April. But before I start, I'd like to thank the board, number one, for selecting me as your general manager. It's a privilege, and I enjoy working with all of you. And also with the staff, they've been absolutely fantastic. Josh been unbelievable. And it's been very nice for me to work here for the last 3 weeks. I learned a lot. And it's a great environment. And I think that the people here are very dedicated and have a lot of passion for delivering high quality mountain water to the water district. One of the most important part of this whole organization, yes, it's water, but the people of the water, Heights Water, could not get the water without people. You can take the building, you can take the pipes in the ground, and all the funds, but don't take my people. And they make it all happen. And I think we kind of forget that when the invoices and what's right and wrong with the attorneys. I deal with real people and they have a passion. The brains is one thing, the money is one thing. When you have passion for what you're doing on a daily basis, wanting to come to work, that is so great. Josh and I, we had the pleasure of welcoming a new employee this this past week, Brandon Maxwell, a local chap, young guy. And the perfect kind of an employee we're wanting to have joining the organization. And I just talked to him a little earlier today, and he loves it here, and everybody likes him. So that's important. So we are now 9 employees at the Heights, delivering to some 6,200 connection, I believe you read that. And I believe that we have not had any major issues during last month. The continuous educational credit, which are due May 35, certifying the operator, very important that our employees are updated. And the original budget I saw for education and training is very limited. And the strength of the organization is the people scale. So I like to implement in the review process of the employee rather than you all get $1.25 per hour next year. But actually include a skill building challenge to the employee. What is it you like? You know, what's the next step? How can we help you get there? And make provision for them to kind of replace it. So we have a ladder, and hopefully somebody will take my job within a year or two. So the continuous educational units are important. Personally, I was involved in that teaching process in the water well industry and travel around the country and educating pump installers, well drillers, and I loved it. There's something about education. They can take your pocketbook, they can take your house, they can take your car, but your skill is something you can leverage and build on. And it's important to instill that on the employees, because this operation is no better than our employees. So it's important for this board to realize for them to like you, the door to change doesn't swing in somebody else's face, right or wrong. It never. So it's up to us to build that culture within the organization. And this is in our budget for next year, that Josh and I have looked at. So I'm way behind here because of this, but I feel so strongly about that people component. The Wicks Lane project should be completed within the next couple of weeks, we think. I know a couple of our board members live down the street from there. And this afternoon rain probably didn't help. The interstate engineer we discussed, we had a meeting with them, which was very interesting. Should we hand those out now, or should we do this later?
Do that at the end.
Yeah.
We got enough other stuff to tackle.
You would be too excited if we handed out. So it'll feel staying or and keep them jumping. And then the signer of the FIB, the first thing
We
you
just
say.
same thing with getting the signer off of the account. I need the minutes to reflect that you would like to have Bo be a signer on the First Interstate account.
We can make a motion and have done with this meeting.
Just have the minutes reflect that you guys approve it, however you want to do it.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by-
Yes, that is appropriate for the manager's report. We may do that in the new business, but it's not on the agenda.
Well, you can wait for that later. It's not important.
However you want to do
It
it.
just gets really screwed up if, when the minutes get written, you've got a manager's report, in the middle you have a motion that's not on the agenda.
Yeah.
It's just not appropriate.
Well, we're at. Okay, we also had an important meeting with our liability insurance and officers, directors of office land insurance. And, it's expires in July.
Right, that one
Start.
kind of, that ties in with that new business number 3, so we can talk about that now or then with your.
Yeah.
We can go in more detail. I just want to tell you a little about the activities. We have been busy. I've been here for a week. And we have something going on every day of the week, of course. And then it's something I wanted to add to that, Josh.
No, I think we're just gonna hold off on all the
The insurance,
details.
yeah,
so-
yeah. And also the other thing too, which is somewhat of a board item we can wait with, and that is our CD that are coming up for renewal. And we need a motion on that. And the only thing, the comment I'd like to make there, we kind of know the due dates on these things. And we could have a board meeting, make a decision before it actually come due, rather than have this 1.6 million sitting there for 2 or 3 weeks until the board gets together. It's not a motion, I'm just personal business. I've been in the private sector and I like to make a lot of money. So, we should not wait, interest rates because the board is not ready to make a decision. It's nothing personal here, it's just a business observation.
Yeah. Can I
Yes.
comment on that? The issue is that you need to do a better job preparing the agendas, because we knew that last month, but the Sequel thing was not included in the agenda. Then this month, it gets added on after the 48 hours are up, but with no item on the agenda. That should be included under your new business along with the motion, but it's not on the agenda again.
Right.
The reinvestment, it's number 2 under old business.
Not in the one I got that I downloaded Monday. After 5.
Well, let's assume it's not there. Doesn't make sense what I said.
It does, but
No, I don't
But
want
the
you
management, but the
to.
management is responsible for getting, it would have been done had the agenda been properly prepared in April.
Correct.
I prepare the agenda, I send it out to the board members. If I get no response, you get no response. So this is a team.
Right.
We're all faulty.
I'm not
We are
disagreeing,
all-
I'm not disagreeing with that,
I'm
but
not
there's
blaming
rules.
you, Sam. I'm just saying we are faulty. That is us as humans. But if I send out an agenda, a rough agenda, and ask for, please input what you would like, what you would take out, have we missed anything? And I get an echo from a meadowlark. That's what you get for an agenda.
Okay,
So,
but the
complete
Sequel,
the,
the Sequel is
payroll
the
manager
manager of
report
money
form.
management.
Right, we're 8, 9 employees here, $5 million company. Do we have faults? I totally agree. Are you gonna find fault with my presentation here? Yes. And the budget? Yes. And I take that as constructive criticism, and we make notes and we try to improve, and this will be one of them. I got another one for you, on the 401k. We definitely have had some issues looking at the minutes. And I like to propose that we get 3 new proposals to handle this 401 account. I think that most of our employees like the Fisher Investment Group, but the 2 others could be combined. And that we could save money and a lot of agony for our staff. And also save money for the Heights Water, but also our employees. So that is something we should handle perhaps on the new business. And at the same time, I think we should update the plan itself. I think the plan is somewhat outdated, the summary plan. So, in my private sector, I started 401k, the first year, 1974. We had a plan in 73, but the reason I started in 1974, preventing companies to set aside funds for their retirement that were not in the employee's name. So, I recommend that the board take this up on the new business. Josh, we kind of built this together, and Josh's been very helpful to me, and as a sounding board. I know a lot about valves and pumps. The water, I'm learning something new every day. And Josh and the staff have been very helpful in welcoming me into this new world. So bear with me for any omissions and errors on the fine print of your insurance policy, you know. Anything to add to that, Judge?
No, sir.
Any questions for me or Josh on the manager's report? Yes.
Well, I just want to thank you, Ed, for understanding the compassion and that you understand something, that the staff is the water, not the water is the staff. And I appreciate that part of it, because I think that's been lacking. People have just been looking at these numbers and saying, to heck with the staff. You just want to talk numbers, but that's what I've always preached, is the fact that, you know, the heart is with you guys, and I want to thank you and my employees that are here personally, because it's been difficult with that kind of on your backs all the time. So anyway, thank you. I wanted to-
I'd like to add to that. I love to play pickleball, and I haven't done that for a couple of weeks, but I understand that the Y, they play pickleball every Friday night, 7 or 8 o'clock, and you play pickleball too. It's a great sport, especially for old people, you know.
Tell you about it later.
So anyway, I struck up a conversation with a couple that were there with a teenage son. And they asked me, of course, who I was and worked, and I said, I'm new in town and I worked for the Heights Water. Oh, Heights Water, I live in the Heights. And I pay my bills. And every month I see Susie. Oh, she is such a great lady. And I hear this. And my office around the corner, I can hear her. She knows everybody, you know. So I think we have a very good reputation in the community, and that we're helping people. So that's important, that image in the community, that we're here to help, and that we have great people helping the people in the community. And I get so many phone calls, half of them have been not related to their water pipe, has to do with vacuum breakers. It froze up. We get you the water to your house. What you do with the water is your business. But they feel like there's water in our name, and we can help them out. And so all of that has been very important to me personally, anyway. The staff there is doing such a great job. Yep. Oh, yes.
I learned from a management consultant many years ago. The organization and the managers are only as successful as your employees. And so you need to get to your employees what they need to be successful, and then your organization will be successful. And I thought those rules, I've lived by those for 30 years, and it's true.
That's how I made all my money.
Yeah.
You cannot have a successful organization unless you make everybody within the organization successful. And not only that, they have to feel that they want it, need it, and appreciate it and listen to. So I will do a lot more of that here, but I think the basis here is wonderful, wonderful people. The next, the budget.
I have
Yeah.
one question on your report. You didn't, talk about it, water rate with the city. How are we coming to the negotiation with the city on the rate for us from them? Increase, decrease, whatever.
I think Doug is the man to ask.
They came in with a decrease to us. That was, look at your Jennifer's. She asked if we still like to meet, the council meeting to revise the Heights Water District rate from $4.42 per thousand to $3.04 per thousand.
So.
442, 304.
304.
Yeah, but three or
That's
four.
June 6th meeting.
This was a letter just.
No, but the meeting they proposed was that June 6th.
That's different.
That's.
Yeah, okay. Three,
Down
304 is their presentation to us.
Right.
They have done nothing to change it. We got information to tell us where we at with
The
the
442 rate was with the proposed.
proposed year last year that
Right.
they knew they couldn't do.
And
They
then it-
presented us with 304. We had questions on peak hour, peak day and growth rates.
Right,
Have we got anywhere?
we have not, so that's. Their next thing is go to the council with it, and then it's back to us.
That's Raftellus got the information.
I have seen nothing from the Phillies.
But Mr. General Manager, would you check with Raftellus to see if they've been in contact with the city in terms of getting the underlying data so that they can advise us?
Okay,
Because there's a process set forth in that master contract with the city.
Right.
And the access to that data is a very important part.
we got a 300-page budget report from the city where they were discussing the peak. Jeff, you remember the peak demand and all
Yeah,
that?
they went through that.
So we haven't reviewed the whole thing, but we will. Very comprehensive.
I'm guessing that's what we're paying Raftellus to do.
Right, yeah. Paying them a healthy sum to do that.
No, this is Randy, correct?
Andrew.
Andrew. So we did talk to him. And then that report, he had an inflation factor of like 3%. And what I like, what I showed you during the May 1 work session with the board, that we have very favorable rates, meaning margins on water sold. And I mentioned that to him, and he was considering or asked, do you want me to update the report? And most of that in that report was very good, excellent information. But you could plug in all sorts of things and we spit it out, anything you like, and we got the same offer from Interstate Engineering yesterday. Did you like the report? Something else? No, that's not how it works. We have to report, we produce a report. We can reach our own conclusion based on your report. And the same with Andrew, is that some of the assumptions were different. So we will review it and we will get back to him based on this budget and where we are, where you as a board want us to go. And we'll update all that, but right now that report, I don't know how useful it is. But we're based on how much you like a budget report, we'll can update some of the numbers.
To the budget. If you let go.
Yeah. What?
Can you share to the large screen?
Yeah,
Yeah, don't turn around. You don't have to. That's exercise.
and just a summary. Is that?
Yeah, that's slide in.
Well, that's
Sorry.
our,
That does.
yeah, this is sensitive. So. Click here. Yeah. Yeah. So, this is the April. Performance report. And before we start the budget, I first thought we go, I prepared all that stuff, the bad expenses, the good, the favor. But go to the very end. The summary. So we talk about revenue in April of 335,000. Last month, last year was 292. So we had an increase of 14.5%. And then we have the water purchases. And this is the sexy part. Because water purchase 135, last year was 152. So even though the revenues were higher, the cost of water sold was 4.8% lower. So what that means is that water purchase in relationship to revenues were 40.5%. Now, you remember my first meeting with you guys before I was hired, the average water cost was 57.5%, the historic numbers. So this is better than excellent. This is illegal. So we have 48.8%. As a result, the gross profit was 24 for the month, year to date 23, last year 17.9 and year to date. So those are very good numbers. And then we have investment on, non-operating financial holdings of a couple of thousand, year-to-date 8,000. And that is higher than last year. So total income, as percentage of revenue is 25% for the month. And last year, 18. So. In the private sector, we like to have return on our equity. So these are some financial ratios that I'm used to, like the current ratio, our ability to pay off current liability. And our current liability is only 104,000. Last year, there were almost 600,000. So give us a very strong current ratio. Our total debt is a little less than 20%. Last year it was 24. And long-term debt to equity ratio. This shows how leveraged we are. And we are not leveraged really at all compared with private sector and the public sector. This is excellent. So we can go out there and borrow millions if we wanted to and expand this district. So, any questions?
What did we do last year that we had such a high debt?
No, the debt.
Was it
service-
$600,000 that we?
Well, don't forget the $500,000 grant money.
Oh,
And this year, our trend is favorable. So if I show you 6 months, these numbers will actually be better than they are. So this involves the budget, so. Here. So, what does the budget start with? A lot of people go for the cash drawer and see what's in it and how I can spend it. And I think that once again, the people, the resources, how do you leverage them to make more money? Money doesn't make money by itself. So it's people. So our goals and opportunity here has to be working with our staff to create a better budget, and we have to invest wisely in projects that have something to do with revenue, enhancing revenue, supporting it. Working with the city, of course, of Billings, our largest supplier. And we have to work closer with them, and I know that during the interview process, your request on the consolidation project, that's something that has been reviewed in the past. Will be reviewed this year. And I can assure you, it will be reviewed in the future again. It just makes sense from a business standpoint of view, and those are the national trends too, by the way. Better assist our employees, the 401k, building a team culture, trust, and a closer relationship with the board. I don't necessarily insist that the board and the team have a hug fest, but I do like to have the board of directors go out and visit our tanks, visit our booster systems, and have our employee explain to you what they're doing, how they're doing it, and what's needed to do it better. And this is where the board comes in. You know, we come up with crazy plans, and with you, we can realize these plans. So it's important that we have the board support, not just the big picture stuff, but also the smaller things. And the delivery system work for our customer, allowing for this district to grow. It keeps our eyes open for new opportunities. Now, when we work with engineers, the city and also here in the Building Heights, it's 10 years, 20 years. Well, the average American does he planning for one paycheck period to the next, you know? So for us to spot the future on the growth is very difficult. So we gotta have short-term plan as well as the 10 and 20. But all the focus, all the money we spend, we have board resolutions, engineering board resolution for engineering study. Right now, that's $850,000, of which $350,000 has been spent. We have another. Do you know where you can spend the $500,000 on? So we need to review all of that, and it starts with people working with the board and our staff, so that we can satisfy the need of this community as it grows. So that's a totally team effort. So in our statement, profit and loss, cost of goods sold, administrative expenses, operating, we're gonna review that. And also, of course, the capital improvement I just mentioned. So, to build a budget, we need certain assumption. And one of those is the new city rate of 2.97, a 2.34% increase. We also suggest about a 5% increase in our rates, and 1.3% from organic growth, 6,100 meters to 6,200. And based, John, on your data today, that was close to 61 plus. 61.14. Yeah, so I think those are doable. The ratio of water purchase to water revenue of 53.6%. The average in the last 5 years using our audited information have been 57. And you saw in April, it was 40%. So we have a very favorable trend. But trust me, it has nothing to do with me. I just walked into a candy store because you guys are on the right trend. And the price schedule you established in December shows that it was a good move. An overreach, I don't know. And number 4, no pending grant applications for the coming year. Now, we do have some smaller one pending, Josh, that we think we're gonna get. But for budget process, it's not good to speculate that we're gonna make okay if we get the grant. And then at the end of the year, I can tell them, wow, we didn't get the grant, you know? So budget process, we don't want to roll the dice. We want to make sure that we can achieve and that the budget is realistic and conservative. So if we're going to err, it's going to be on that conservative side. And capital expenses, it's always good to invest about the same amount of money as our depreciation. In the private sector, you don't fund the expense, you write it off against taxes. In the nonprofit, we set aside funds. And we have more damn money than we know what to do with. Why are we spending it and make this community grow? We have what, $6-7 million, and our debt ratio is very good. So we just need a good plan. We need to work that plan. We need to realize that plan and make this community respond to the needs of the community. And I think the need is there, the growth opportunities are there. So I think this budget addresses some of those things. Is there any questions so far on the assumptions?
So,
Pam? So
The
sorry,
only thing I would say, I can't function this way. I mean, I can't read anything and
you can't read it?
I can't read it from this distance. And it's not in the board packet. I just find it really frustrating. I would much prefer to have the information in the board packet so that we can review it ahead of time. And I can't read from this distance. Basically, for a PowerPoint, you need 32 points in order to be able to read it on a screen.
No, you were here May first,
Right, and you
same thing.
can read it then either.
Oh, okay. But we can provide copies.
Well, yeah, I was gonna suggest.
Yeah, this is good material.
People with.
Yeah.
With vision issues can use paper easier, because our eyes do get tired as the day goes by.
Right.
So I would appreciate that as well.
Right, absolutely. We will provide copies, but this setup was presented May first during our work session. We'll make sure you get a copy of this, no problem. So this is a statement of profit and loss and revenues.
Is this in our packets?
This is the same thing that's on the budget. This is that top line. It's just,
The page?
um,
You flip,
It's a tough bill.
yeah, you flip your page, I can see you have it.
You just weren't buying.
There.
Here.
Yeah.
Top of the page.
It's,
Whatever. You just buy.
so this information I'm going to show you here is in your
There.
packet. In the notes.
Page 26.
Right there. That's. And we haven't changed any of these numbers.
Well, this is why a direct link to each of these would be so handy. For the
Yeah.
board in terms of accessing. That's why the request has been for separate accessing rather than a big undifferentiated portion of the packet for future ones.
Yeah.
If we can get to work in that direction.
Right.
Thank you.
Now, part of our goal here was to communicate all the details so that the board can make a good decision, educated decision based on how much factors we can give you. So any comments or suggestions that you have, we will address. So this is the projected revenues. This fiscal year, 5.2 million, and the budget for 24-25, as mentioned, 6.3% increase. Out of that, 5% pricing at 1.3, I mean, that 1.3 would be the growth from
organic growth.
yeah, the organic growth, and the other majority will be the pricing. So it's $320,000.
Question.
Question.
Yes, Frank, sorry.
So on the top, you got UIE, estimated year end. It's 5234, and then you got actual fiscal 23, you got 5555. Which is just $2,000 less than the budget for 24-25.
Yes,
Is that a typo? Is that the actuals from
Right.
22-23?
So what's the difference
I think
between
that's-
year end, the estimated year end and the actual? How come there's so much difference?
The actual is from fiscal year 22-23, so FY 23. And that was what the budget for this current year was based on. Or didn't approve of the previous general manager's budget last year, so they used the previous year's actuals as the budget.
So the reason it was 5555 is because of the $500,000 grant.
That we received in 22.
That's why that shows not much more than it is
Correct.
this year, estimated year end.
Correct.
right.
Does he valid?
So obviously, the big thing here is the water revenue growth on 6.3, as mentioned, 5% would be the price increase, and 1.3% growth from new meters and services. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
I guess I have a concern. I mean, typically the cost of water is about half of our operating expenses. So our operating expenses are gonna go up 2%. I mean, the cost of water goes up 2%, that impacts our operating expenses by 1%, and the additional 4% is our additional charges. And 5% is the maximum amount that we can charge without a public meeting.
Right.
I don't know that there's a rationale for that.
Well, that's why they call it budgeting. It's not an exact science, but it's a starting point. And a budget in the private sector, we updated our budget every quarter to fine tune it, because if you know the first quarter, this budget's not right. And that's why Wall Street puts on a 90-day review. 90 days, your sales are down, profits are down, a new executive is there. So you gotta be relatively close to your budget target, and budget means you're shooting for something. So I recommend that we do update it on a quarterly basis to fine tune it, rather than say, hey, this budget is wrong. You remember when we talked about this? Yeah, I remember. And you continue doing the same thing. So we don't want to repeat something that's wrong. So updating the budget on a quarterly basis is not a bad idea. But we have to have a 12-month vision. Where are we going? And you as board member, you're responsible for this organization. You have to make sure that, yeah, financially, this is sound. Yeah, is it realistic? Is it obtainable? So yes, it's part of the guessing game. Part of it is an educated guess.
But what is your rationale other than you can increase it without a public hearing? What is the rationale for maximizing the increase this year?
Well, Doug just mentioned, okay, I wrote it down. The city wanted to go 442, and they're settling for 308, right? 304. So we are at 297. So there's going to be somewhat of a step increase the next few years. And I ran a very successful business for 50 years. I never believed in shocking the customer. This year, we really need the money, so we had a 10%. No, as you go, you charge more, 2, 3, 4%. Everybody can adjust to it. And the same here at the Heights, is that if you shock them like the city tried to do with us, that doesn't make sense. And more staggered growth, so people can adjust to it. There's over 6,000 connections here. They depend on us. They depend on us when we run a company that is financially sound and deliver a product that they need and are willing to pay for. So doing what the city tried to do with us, jumping at what, 40, 50%, how are we going to sell that to the Heights? I don't think so. So from my own business perspectives, I like to charge X number of dollars every year as I go, rather than shock the customer. Hey, we've been sweating it out for 5 years. Now you've been getting away from murder. You got to pay more. It doesn't work. That's how companies go out of business.
But next year, we're gonna be compelled to raise it at least. Next year, our rates will go up 25%. And that isn't a function of the city cheaping us. That's a function of our water agreement. They're not allowed to charge us until until the capital improvements come online. So what you're saying is you'll soften next year's 25% increase
A little bit,
a
yeah,
little bit.
a little bit. I think it's prudent. I kind of run a small successful business for 50 years. And, you gotta help the customer, not just giving a high quality product built to last. But it's gotta be reasonable, okay? And the product is the most important thing. We owe to this community, deliver high quality water that is premium and no issues. And charge a reasonable rate. Shocking them does not make any sense. That's just poor planning. So if we can help the city of Billings to smooth in the new rate, we should do that. It just makes good business sense. And we've been talking about that with our staff, yes.
So to understand a little bit more on that, this is part of the contract, like Pam said. The city can't charge Heights Water until the product is enforced. But the city, all the people in the city have been paying 5% for the last 6 or 7 years for that West End water plant already. So if it's 5% for 6 years, then they've already had an increase of 30%. The Heights hasn't had any increase yet, and the Heights could have started charging more for their customers right along, just like the city did, but they didn't do that. And so if you don't do it, you gotta pay the piper sometime, and so the piper's gonna get paid when that comes online, and it's gonna be the full bore.
Right, but the city is increasing their water rate.
They have a separate line item that's 5% a year just for that West End water plant.
Right, but this year they're increasing their rate a lot more than 5%.
But the 5% is getting increased in addition to that, because the 5% is a separate line item
Yeah,
on the bill.
well, we negotiated a lot better deal with them. But the truth of the matter is that the customer does not like to get shocked with a water rate. And I think the city of Billings increased their rates 14% this year. They will.
I don't remember.
Well, I have it here somewhere. I compared all their rates with our rates. And let's go over our budget. Okay. So anyway,
That was the income side. Now,
let's
look at the expense.
is there any other questions?
I do have a related question. If your goal is to soften the blow next year, are you gonna save that 4% that we're not then paying for water? So that we've got a cash reserve to help, so we don't have to do a 25% increase next year, or a 12.5%. Because half of that 25% impacts us by 12.5%.
Well, as after you see all this, you can see that we do have some room to absorb some of it. Some of it will be price increase. But I think financially, we will be better off than we have been in the last 5 years. The
So,
Heights water.
but if the rationale is to soften the blow next year and you're not gonna save the money, then you're just gonna raise it 5% and spend 5% more, which doesn't soften anything for next year.
That'll be.
Yeah,
That'll be part of the specifics here. Let's discuss.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. So administrative expenses, we are looking at 8%, estimated 8% this fiscal year, in our budget 7.9, and actual in fiscal 23, 8.2%. And there was no major changes there. Any questions? Yes, are you allowed to ask questions?
I-
Yeah, yeah.
So, one of the things on the director fees that you need to be aware of is that the electorate started charging us for the election, and next year there will be elections.
Right, we have that in the budget, you mean, the handling costs.
So I'm in your, line, second line down,
Yeah,
where your budget's $8,400. You need to add $11,000 to that.
But not here. If that's not a director fee. That,
That's where it got recorded, wasn't it?
it was, but it's not appropriate as a director fee.
Anyway, just,
no, that's the point, but we have that in the budget. But, that's a good point, and we did address that.
okay,
So this is the detail operating expense budget summary. And you have this in your document. There's a lot of,
I guess the easiest way. Anybody got any questions on any part of it? Of this part, instead of going through line by line?
Yeah,
Just in
okay.
the interest of time.
I got, we did that, budget amendment last meeting for office supplies. And it still shows the 15,000, so if you take the 9,000 off, then it kind of gets it more in line of where it's supposed to be.
Object 211, the office supply, 15,000 to 7,000.
Yeah, and so the actual, when you take the budget amendment of $9,129 or $92 off, that drops that down to $6,000 or just under 6,000.
I think we were gonna put that in the capital expense and discuss.
It's,
It was there, but I think we typoed it.
that's the account 211.
Because in essence, you're going 1.5 times more for office supplies than you had last year.
Yeah.
When you increase it from
So the
46 to 72.
It should be 6.
Doesn't matter where the increase or decrease, numbers good.
Okay, we'll confirm that and change it.
The numbers good.
Then on 341, electricity, how much electricity is Northwest Energy and how much is Yellowstone Valley? Gosh, you know,
I have a spreadsheet on my computer. And so, thanks for that.
because Northwest Energy is going up big. I don't think Yellowstone Valley is staying the same. But I think Northwest Energy is going up like 18%. 28? Wow. So you might not have enough for electricity budgeted in there if we got a lot of Northwest Energy draws.
But that's a good point. And when we're talking about the Northwest pressure situation, that might change it too, to activate a booster system that's not running there. So, okay, very good.
Good on that one?
On the underground locations, should that not net zero?
The 346?
Yeah.
ELM permits,
No, the Elm utility.
Yeah, that's our-
46.
that's our. Every time the locate ticket's called in.
That's all for TDS.
The majority of them right now are yes, but.
So
that's also-
TDS is paying you back for all these, so what's the,
No, we
what's
pay
the?
$1 per ticket that's called in, that's part of the,
Oh, that's
how it works, yeah, that's,
You
we-
paid them
we
$1.70,
pay-
they paid you $1.70.
and, but that's the,
But
that's our cost to be a part of that program.
we build a customer for it. Locally.
No, it's, how that call is pretty good. Laura has. You got something on that?
a question on permits.
347. Up to 347, go ahead.
The question is, why the significant increase?
Because we have to pay the street opening permits, and I went back and did a 10-year average on the locates, we do 30 digs a year. 30 times 500. 15,000.
Thank you, Josh. Well done. Appreciate the work you put into it.
Number 361, repair and maintenance contract service, what's that for, Josh?
So that would be where, I think we have to call in an outside contractor to come in and help do something. If we gotta do hydro excavation on a hole, calling in, and getting that hydro excavated, or say the Main Street problem, something pops up there.
Isn't that in another separate place?
That's where it's always been coded, is under.
I thought there was another place where that comes in. Water main and line repair, 361.
360 repair.
236.
That's $20,000, that's too small.
Water main line repair, those are our, that's my fittings. Fittings and stuff that I ordered, like parts and pipes.
In the house supplies.
Yep, those are our, if I gotta call, get curb stops, valves, pipe. Laura had another question.
Oh, go ahead, Laura.
On the next page, Bo, the engineering fees, you're showing a decrease, line 353.
That's because the Wicks Lane project the $12,000 that we got billed for the topographic survey, the beginning of interstate starting that project. That's where I coded it and put it in that fund. So that was a irregularity.
Okay, where do we normally have engineering fees?
That engineering fee fund is, we'll call it the day-to-day. So that is if I get requests for hydraulic modeling, if I have maps or GIS issues, problems, or, that kind of stuff, all the day-to-day district. That's what the engineering fees, that particular fund is for. And then the way that it had been done under the previous manager is the capital projects, the 930 to 970, that was all, instead of, the capital expense, whatever, we use the 930 as all of the task order 26 bills, and then like 970 currently houses all the task order 28 and 29 bills. That's just how it was from the previous, so he decides to do it differently. It was just a way of an attempted organization.
Thank you.
I did put together, because I'm new to this, so the chart of account. We can give you a copy of the chart account and explain what goes in it. And I made it, I'm halfway through it. If that's helpful.
When we get to capital improvements. Right, just you delve into that, but a little more detail.
Travel and lodging, 1350 seems. And 1500 seems mighty shy. I mean.
Most of that is,
7 days, that's not even 7 days.
we haven't had historically a lot. Most of that is sending, if we have a new serviceman, sending them to like Bozeman to take the test. It's a 3-day, and then other than that, we don't send people out of town for trainings. Most time we've tried to find local or online options for our CECs. Just in the interest of being.
Even Bozeman, I mean, there's a cheap hotel is $300.
Yeah.
So it's,
I was just saying,
And last year we were not too successful. This is slap shot, you educate these guys to work out.
so that's something you'd like to see more into.
Well, referring back to trying to educate our force,
Right.
we have to be realistic on that. Tom, you had a comment?
Yeah, I've studied this quite thoroughly. I really like the numbers. Like Bo said, this is our objective. We review it quarterly. I draw your attention to the very bottom. $1,121,818 in profit. We have plenty of room to make budget amendments. Everything here is so much cleaner, and so much nicer than the presentation we seen last week. It isn't fun. Is everything perfect? I doubt it will be, but it's a goal, it's a starting point, and if we review quarterly, we're in pretty good shape by what I'm looking at the bottom of the page. Therefore, if possible, I'd like to make a motion, we accept the budget as is.
We haven't finished reviewing it yet. We haven't gotten the capital improvements.
Right, it's not completely finished, but,
Thanks for your confidence.
we reviewed in great detail all these accounts and what they mean, what does trading mean, concrete and all that. So spell it out so that everybody knows what these accounts are, and then there's like 50 of them, so I have started that process. So I know the account number and what's supposed to be in there. Because mislabeling account happens all the time in business, and we want to limit that. So what's interesting on this page is that without the grant, we're looking at a gross profit last year, 482, and so the year was twice that what we proposed in our budget. So most of that is really the favorable gross profit, if you will, between the product that we sell and what we get for it. We're increasing the revenues, and this year we're decreasing the sale of water.
I several things. I don't feel like we've got enough documentation to increase staff salaries, benefits, and retirement by 5.7%. People were pretty dissatisfied with the presentation that you gave at the work section because we just didn't have enough comparable data. Our benefits are so far above what any other government employee is getting in Yellowstone County, if not the state. And you're budgeting 5.7 on top of that. I don't think we're ready for that until we see a lot more data. That's one thing. The other thing is, we're a government entity, we can't make a profit. We can only charge the cost of operations. So you can put the profit into a reserve fund, but you can't call it profit because that isn't something we're allowed to do. I do have a question about communication and postage. It's 30,000 a year. And you made the comment at the last session that Josh takes the postcards next door and drops them in the mail.
Both mail downtown.
Okay, because that's what I was concerned about. I thought we were doing bulk mail, but that wouldn't have been next door. Okay. And then the bank service charges are $12,000 a year. I know that US Bank has special deals for government entities, which I understand are far less. And I'd like to see us at least look at it. $12,000 is a lot of money. And I'd like to at least know what the difference in cost would be. If we went with the government entity, the government charges that US Bank charges everybody else.
Yeah. Okay, so here is a summary of revenue, water purchase, admin expenses, and water operating expenses. And you can see that the 6.2% increase in the revenue is less than the water purchase. It's 8.7. Why? And that is the new rate. The high rate for water that will take effect. So more water, but water at a much higher price. So there is a projected increase of 52.6% of revenue for water purchase. And it's still very low to the historic 57%. So part of it, we have to review it so we do not overcharge the customer, make the profit. That's not what we want to do. Part of it's anticipation, because we know that there is a thunderstorm coming down the street, and that's the newer higher rate. And shocking the customer into the higher rate. Yeah, we gotta kind of do both in this transition period, but we know we will be in for a very difficult period the next couple of years with a new water plant. And they will be spending $20 million a year for the next 3 years on that new plant. So we will carry some of the burden for that. So we need to anticipate that to a certain degree. And I'm not doing that. It's somewhat responsible to do that. You can't overdo it. But on the other hand, you can't blindfold yourself because you know there's thunder in the air. So we need to prepare in a prudent way so that the water district doesn't have financial issues. Oh, okay. So any questions? Now, Pam, you recommend we not call it net profit, rather revenue?
I would put it in an account that's not touchable,
Right.
so that we can use it and label it something to save, to reduce the rate increases for fiscal year 26. Because otherwise, we're raising the money.
Right.
And we have no boundaries on the spending, and that doesn't soften anything.
Okay, good point. So this is just a snapshot of our audited.
The
balance sheet.
I think that was what we showed.
Yeah. And I just want to show you that our financial position is increasing, meaning our debt would be less than 17% at the end of this year versus 21%. So we can afford a major improvement to our system, like the proposed 24-inch line in the Northwest.
Can we go to the capital improvements
Yep,
portion of the budget?
There you are.
I've been waiting patiently.
right, but here you go. With patience paid off. So this is what has partially been produced by Interstate Engineering. And it deals with what we are committed to and what we expect by year end in our budget 24-25. And the major portion here in the 24-25 budget is 400,000 towards the Northeast connection to the city, which is, should we hand out the little handbooks?
It's 400,000 and earmarked towards project. There's got to be a project up there somewhere, so there's 400,000 earmarked or built in to be used on one of the alternative solutions. We have, I guess, what's your questions with it? If you have any concerns or. We'll go.
Well, I've got a couple of concerns. Number one, I think we don't really have a capital replacement plan. And you know, now we've been told that we're not gonna have one, a deliverable on that until October. So it could reveal that we have 10 or 15 miles of transmission line that need to be replaced in the next 10 to 15 years. That could have a major impact on this budget, you know, our planning. And here we don't have the information because of the failure to deliver on time. For reasons you say you can document, and I hope you can provide that to us.
So this is a capital improvement plan.
Right, so, and that includes replacement of bad pipe. We don't have an assessment of the bad pipe yet. We don't know how much we have, what kind of condition it's in, and how soon is gonna need to be replaced. We've got a utility that's been operating for 60 years with no planned pipe replacement, 60 years. And at some point, it's gonna have to be replaced. And that plan needs to be in place, and it needs to be reflected in a budget, in my opinion, just for safety of our ratepayers. Case, and it's still, we're flying blind.
So our engineers have come up with a replacement plan of 2% per year for 50 years, 4.1 million.
It's about 1,500 linear feet a year.
That's $4.1 million.
Quarter
Per
of a
year?
mile.
4.1 million per year,
Well,
or
can we get a bigger screen next time?
Is it in the budget?
I don't think you have this in the budget package.
They've had that in that's the CIP that
Yeah,
puts that out.
yeah, but what we have done here, we have an update for
Right.
this year. So we list a target date and we'll send you the summary sheet, but we gotta review and target the most crucial projects. And they are listed in priority, like the Northwest Transmission Line that we have been working on for some time, and in that box is the answer. Well, that is our top project that we will address. It was originally targeted at $11.8 million for Northwestern Pipeline. Because of the situations in this area where we have kind of.
We're jumping ahead.
Let's
go back to-
water intake. I thought that was going to be canceled.
Nothing's been done on it. These are all just a list of projects to be looked at.
It says target date 2024.
And when we get it, I pulled it off of the CIP stuff and put this together this morning.
This is
and that
this
is
is
what
a
was-
summary. Okay, this is really a summary. So, but we should be thinking about each one of these, and then we'll shift in priority as we go. But the Northwest Transmission main is, I think, in interest of time, could we just jump to that thing?
Well,
Because
they need
this
to
is
do the
the-
budget first before we go into that. So go back to the budget and then they can either yay or nay that. And
well, I'm gonna,
Yep, go ahead, Jeff.
So where are we with the alternative solutions?
your answers are in the box.
Okay, so can you summarize them for me?
Yeah. So this transmission line was projected right now to cost between $400,000 to $970,000. And it means extending the city's line to our line. Can you see this? Connection up here. And let me go to that interest of time. What they're proposing, this is interstate, putting in the connection with the city. In this western corner, it's a rather large connection with two dual check, these are backflow preventers and a meter. And they have an 18-inch line coming in from the city. They have a 24 and will tee off to an 8-inch line. And the outlet here will be 12-inch, tying into our existing line and bypassing our booster station, which is located just kind of down the street here. The cost for that is about $900,000. The issue, what our engineers are telling us is that we do not have enough down the road. We have a 2-year window to make our decision and implement this for fire flow. And that is 20 PSI. So they have reviewed 6 different alternatives and rated them, and the report outlines the rating. They spend a lot of time. The report is very complete. And the conclusion was to install that second meter connection with the city.
Did the report include an estimate for how many meters could then be added to that pressure zone? So how long this fix would last?
Based on the information that the interstate got, the city engineers, they took that and they modeled out 2046. That was their long-term for every alternative, they modeled 2046.
So there would be adequate pressure in this pressure zone with this meter for 22 years?
If the information is.
That's if you did it today.
For $1 million.
Well, I agree for $1 million.
In their budget, I don't know if you've seen their, the city's budget, but they have in their budget to replace one of the tanks, the box tanks. It's over 40 years old, believe it or not, and they're replacing that. They're gonna spend $3 or $4 million in the next couple of years doing that. That I don't think it's gonna change this scenario at all.
Yeah.
But they're planning to serve more people in that region.
This is all stuff that June 5th work session. I wanted to get them here in front of you, to give the same presentation that we got, basically. So that you can go over, they can line out all the alternatives. You can see all their graphics, their modeling results. It's a visual and verbal. So do that, and then there's also with that PBR, there is implementation guidelines that have to be followed. So those public hearing needs to be set and notices, public notice, all that, so that all needs to be done as well. But I figured June 5th, so we'll be back.
But so with that addition of the second meter would solve the pressure problems in Lake Hills for about a 20-year period, including the addition of a bunch of new meters, customers.
What?
They didn't assume build out 2% per year.
Of 2%, which is a pretty aggressive growth, so that's plenty generous. So. Okay,
The big question is, I come from the valve industry. I used to make backflow preventers and do checks. You have a very high friction loss through the RP, reduced pressure zone backflow preventer, 10-15 PSI. It's common. You start to do checks and they will have 3 or 4 PSI. City does not have enough pressure sometimes to overcome our box tank. So it might be not reverse flow, but the checks will prevent it. So we need to verify that the city can deliver the 45 gallons at the pressure. It's like they said 45 to 60 PSI really there. Yeah. So in this concrete $6 million tank, you're gonna have some losses. We have elbows in there, 4,500 gallon minute go through there. And so unofficial, there's nothing unofficial here, but they need to verify those pressure. And it looks questionable that they are there, so we're spending this money and the pressure isn't there. So we gotta pay for their booster system to boost up the system. That's not good. So we need to do some due diligence to ensure. Because our engineering firm, they got the data on that. That is not what I hear. Meaning unofficial sources tell me the pressure is not there to do this. That's not good. You don't spend $900,000 on a connection to the city, and you're going to get drops.
Well, didn't Interstate do this study?
Yeah, they did the study. And they got the information. Now, what would you do if you're reasonable, if you own the system, would you check? Make sure they have it? We check, and they don't have it.
Isn't that what Interstate Engineering was supposed to do, was check to make sure they have it?
We have other connections. Other than water connections. Real water.
I hope they.
So yeah, but we all want a quick fix. Okay, so we have a quick fix, but is the quick fix a fix? We need to verify, you know the story, if you don't verify, aren't. So that's where we are, we need to verify and make sure this is the quick fix. And based on the hydraulics, which is in the report, by the way, within 2 years, we will not cover that 20 PSI that EPA asked us to ensure, because you will have contamination in valves and fittings, and so it's not just fire flow, it's other health related issues that we might run into based on the current rate of growth in that area. So we got roughly 2 years to do this. So can we hand out the report?
Yeah, you guys want it all right now, or you want to, we still got.
Okay. I have a question though on the capital outlay improvements to the chlorination plant. $455,000.
That's where we added the extra 400.
Oh, okay.
It's mislabeled,
That's,
so that's
That's
where
where
labeled the
it's,
second meter connection.
Yeah, we added the 400,000 in there.
from the improvements to the plant, and that was,
Plant improvement.
yeah. So,
It has nothing to do with coordination.
no, like I said, that was the way, that's how previous manager decided to try and keep things organized.
Can we do a different object number?
Yeah, let's set up a different
Well,
different account number, and then as long as you're doing that, I would like each task order to be on its own object, on its own line number, so we can distinguish between 28 and 20.
Yeah.
You know, this is why we can't keep track of things. Because they're either inappropriately labeled or they're combined. This all leads to a lack of transparency. And, you know, you want to build trust between the staff and the board. Believe me, I would like to have that trust, but we can't have it without transparency and without having our questions answered forthright and not ignored. That's only speaking for myself, not the board.
I can show you the view, because I asked for this information from interstate engineer, and I have separate spreadsheet that outlines the detail. What we have paid, our commitment, and what the balance of these projects are. You're interested to see them.
I am.
I guess I'd like to make a related comment. I concur with Jeff's comments. I'm actually concerned, I disagree with Tom. I think the money that is expended for interstate engineering is outrageous. If you combine what the money that's in there for next year was supposed to be spent this year, but they didn't get the job done. And it'd be way cheaper to hire a full-time engineer and get the work done. I mean, we have spent, what, 160,000 and counting, and we have one work product that we've not seen in all this time. The task orders 28, 29 were signed by the previous general manager, which is not legal. The only person that's able to sign contracts is a board president with the board authority. It just makes me crazy that we go on spending and spending and spending. Like if they're gonna come in June, I don't want 3 people to show up with the office manager who doesn't know anything and then have to pay the office manager to sit there and not talk. Lloyd answered all the questions the last time. He's the only one that we need to see. Unless somebody else has the information, but the expenditures for interstate are just too high. And the product and the production is too poor.
Bo, can you explain to the board why you use an outside engineer source rather than an internal engineer source?
The skill set they have and the resources they have. I would not recommend, even the cities using outside sources. So normally water utilities do not have all the, even the largest one. They don't.
Even interstate corporations that operate gas lines and power transmission lines, they all use contract engineers because it's too easy if you're in-house to make the numbers work.
I understand that, but our contracts are not legally signed. We've not had an RFQ for engineers since 2005. We just keep rehiring them and paying whatever they charge us. It's just too much.
No, it's good to review proposal, if not every year, every other year or 2 years to ensure. And I understand each state had very long, perhaps too long, I don't know. But it's very common for utilities to work with outside engineering and in buildings. I don't know how many there are. I don't think we should do one of them. So that's a good comment, and we'll make a note. And if the board would like or entertain quotes by other engineering firms. Was that?
And we assign a contract with them.
Well, I know, you sound comfortable with everybody, but, we still gotta review, and see what our options are. That just make good business sense. This thing you can't see unfortunately,
If you hit the control button with scroll up.
We should, I think.
Are there any other questions on the budget as far as income, expense items? Again, we're gonna go through and we review quarterly. So we can change the budget at any point in time.
We had this issue last year when we did the budget and there was like, oh, we're gonna have to change this thing every month. If you look at April's printout in the packet today. Total, we're sitting at 68%, April should be 75. I'm saying we're doing pretty good. And I don't see anything wrong with this budget we got here. The only thing I think we need a line item in there for the Discovery Committee. And not the committee, but the Discovery deal with the city. Cause that's gonna be a 50-50 split.
Went for evaluation of pipe conditions.
Yep.
So, probably 70,000 there. So, total each in that, for that number,
So 7.
70,000.
Mr. Chairman.
Very good.
Well, you know, I would like to see the big delivery package. To review it, I'd like to hear the presentation on June 5th. I'd like to have the answers provided to us in terms of the data that we asked for in terms of fan benefits. You know, we discussed having that comprehensive review done before the adoption of the budget. That's still not done. So I'd like to prefer passing the budget until the June meeting after we get these changes reviewed and our questions answered. We'll still meet our fiscal year 10.
You know, I don't disagree with that one. You know, we keep going over these budgets and budgets, and last time we passed the budget and then we decided not to pass the budget. So we went back to the 2023. We've got to have a budget that we can work with. It's not perfect, but if we keep bypassing and tabling every month, we're doing it every quarter anyway, Director Aspen. I know you want every little nuance to be done here, but my goodness, these guys have spent a lot of time to do this. We're gonna have more to it. Let's get the budget and we're gonna do it in another 4 months. Otherwise, we keep tabling and tabling and tabling.
I have only suggested one delay, and I've suggested it for not little items, not nuances, but major expenses. Your major expenses in an operation like this are capital and labor. Those 2 items. We still owe it. We still need information on those 2 items. If the rest of the board disagrees, they have every right to disagree. My motion hasn't had a second at this point.
I'll second.
Okay, then you can choose to.
could you, articulate exactly what you're talking about so we can address those 2 issues?
We're splitting out the capital improvement expenses,
Yeah,
Splitting them out into separate,
separate 28 and 29. Add another one, add properly labeled the preferred alternative, number 4. For solving the pressure zone problem, assign that a separate number. And then additional data and wage and benefit comparisons.
From which one was seconded? You guys said it at the same time.
It doesn't matter.
Choose it.
Those are my major questions. The rest of it looks pretty routine, but those are.
I agree. And there's more board discussion first. Question, Jeff, you're
Yes, sir.
moving this to June, it'll be on a June agenda for a
Correct.
final vote.
Correct.
That'd be the
June
June
19th,
19th.
which means it's before the end of this.
Policy said about that.
But the June fifth budget, the June fifth meeting should include this data.
Right.
So if there's any challenges,
It'll be
It can be
there and
fixed.
then we can.
yeah.
Roll it into June 19th. and just wrap it up.
Would you mind, Jeff, articulating, the three things again? One was this separation of capital.
Separation of 28 and 29 task orders
Yeah,
in the capital improvement budget.
Yeah.
Creation of a new a budget line item up there, you call it an object for the alternative number 4 solution, which you're gonna be working on vetting to make sure it works, which I think is appropriate.
That all falls under task order 28. You're still talking-
I'd like it separate, I'd like it to be separated.
Right.
For clarity purposes, that's why I mentioned it. So, you know, it is okay for this board to make changes to task order. This shit is not set in stone. And that's my suggestion. And then also further data on wage and benefit packages in terms of the payroll. Those 4 apps.
Well, here it is.
We didn't get a general manager till.
We didn't get it, we didn't approve
So
it.
we're just forgetting policy and other policy.
Oh, wait, that's it. Here it is. Where is it?
Each thing. Copy the-
Mr. Chairman, Tom is correct, but you know, we've got a new general manager. He's done a very comprehensive review. You know, 90% of my concerns have been dealt with. It isn't gonna hurt us today, another month thing. Cover the final 10%, which are big numbers.
They are big numbers, but I also want to make sure that we're not disobeying our own policy.
As we discussed our policy, if we don't agree with our policies, our
We can-
changes are felt here.
Yeah.
That's what this would do.
We need to,
The only reason I was in the policy is for election.
but I don't see it.
Oh,
This is.
that was only a policy for election years.
I remember that, but I don't see it. Public comment or
A request for clarification from Director Esmond regarding the separation on the task orders. Are you looking for numbers going forward, or are you looking for them to adjust historical numbers?
Well, I heard the general manager say he's going back and getting them separated in his review, so I trust that's coming, and I'm not gonna, I trust him to do what it says. And so this would be prospectively for prospective budgeting purposes, and it will make his tracking purposes, which is, he's indicated it's gonna do, easier to do going forward.
any other comments?
Each are the tasks for 28, 29 separated. How much we budgeted, how much invoiced, what's remaining, and the percentage complete. You can't see that.
No, that's.
But I will forward this to you. And the only reason why I submitted what I did is this how it's been done in the past, you know. The blind dog kind of goes in the same tracks. So I requested this from our engineering firm, and this is what they came up with. So we have committed to 850,000. Invoice complete 334,000, balance 515,000 on these specific projects. And I mean, I realize the screen is kind of an eye test. But I will send this to you for clarity.
Could you also have, put it up on the, beside the agenda packet so that the public can access it? Because we get so many emails, it's hard to keep everything organized. If I can find them in one place, it'd be helpful.
Excellent. I agree. So
That's something I could find.
we can do that.
And I do have,
I'll get some of those.
I have just one more question, which maybe is related to you, Doug, but so on the MOU that the committee was working out with the city, 70,000 is the total cost of the MOU, or will there be other engineering costs that come along with the study? That we're
What
paying
study
for?
are you talking
Well,
about?
I thought that,
Oh, there's two. I can
okay,
answer that. I think I heard Director Ewald talk about 70,000 for the pipe condition survey. And then another 100 for our share of the MOU with the city.
okay, so
So it's
that,
107.
so that needs to get built into the budget.
That's right. That would also need to come back.
And I will just read, so everybody's aware that section 5.02 budget presentation, the general manager will present his proposed primary budget for all district operations for the upcoming year, at least during the regular April business meeting. And we have specific changes in that point of it, so.
Okay.
The board will meet, discuss, alter as needed, and adopt an annual budget by July 1st of each year. No item of the adopted budget can be exceeded without the board at a scheduled meeting previously adopting an amendment explaining the need and where the money will come from. The budget must be reviewed by the general manager and the board during the October, January, April, and July board meetings. So we are good on that point.
Somebody didn't get that in there like it was supposed to, because I made the motion.
Well,
So-
we're
okay for this?
We're okay for this year.
Yeah.
We can always change it.
So right now, we don't have to vote on this budget at this time. We can wait till July 1st, according to that, correct?
Right,
Okay, can we move on then, please?
No,
we have an amendment on it, or
a motion.
We got a motion on the floor. Which, could we call for public comment and vote on it?
We already called.
it's called for.
Okay.
So we'll do a roll call vote.
What is the motion?
Could you repeat your motion, Jeff?
To delay passing the budget until the regular June meeting.
That's all it was.
Me,
No,
Tom,
No,
Doug,
Till June, yes.
Frank,
Yes.
Jeff.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, your whole budget fund. And it was.
Why can you always succeed in what you're trying to do?
You succeeded.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, you did. There's nothing in there that the board was against. We just need further
Right.
information. That's,
Well, I'm missing something, Martin.
yeah.
Right, you didn't present in April.
Excuse me.
You didn't present in April.
He just got here.
I know, that's why,
Not his.
that's why I'm teasing you.
I'll try.
I think we need to add more comfortable chairs for the gallery if we're gonna have 3-hour, 4-hour meeting.
We aren't even supposed to over yet.
I don't.
We got 5 minutes.
We can have a 5-minute break. Yeah. We're going on business and
George did old business, right?
no, we have to reinstate the options for the CDs.
are we gonna do that?
Yeah. Right. And then we'll also do only one item on the new business.
it takes a lot.
We'll do that before we go into old business.
I just,
Committee report.
We showing
we're morning.
all of the new business, or we just appointing somebody tabling the rest of the new business for some other time?
Don't expect this story. It's disappointing with board members.
Are you sure you guys?
We gotta do that. We got like 1.2 million around.
Let me go talk to my wife.
Yes. For $100 a month.
Anything that's. That they're very eager. Soon we're gonna go to that. He wants one for each individual.
Okay. It's that. In the budget.
That's nice.
Yes, I remember that was to bring it out some dates until 2022. So it's still working.
It's what, like 2 hour meeting? Yeah. We still do salaries. Not all of them.
That's just. And it's probably harder for minutes.
Answer your phone. My problem is right.
Okay, we have the board members here.
Nobody's gonna do this.
We're gonna call the meeting back. to
Yeah, you're
order.
missing.
And, French, that's okay, we're just gonna have, comments on, the Discovery Committee.
All right, we had our first discovery meeting with the city, or the second one, I guess, April 22nd. And that's when we sat down and we talked about 4 engineering firms that we had chosen. And the city was sending out a statement of qualifications to the following engineering firms: Dowell, KLJ, Morrison Merrily, and Sanderson Stewart. In the meantime, Dowell has decided they didn't want to be involved in it. They didn't have time to get it done. So we're down to KLJ, Morrison Merrily, and Sanderson Stewart. Last week, what day was it? Thursday? Thursday. Then we went down and we met with Morrison Merrily. They had some specific questions they wanted to ask, find out what direction everybody wanted to go. So it was Morrison Merrily, Bo, Ming, and myself, and Travis Harris, point man for the city, and Lewis Engels, head of the water down there. Request for the statement of qualifications, so it's availability, AFAP, list of project team members, and a method of approach to the project. Specific areas of discovery are infrastructure conditions, staffing, benefits to customers, total financials, 50-50 cost split, compliance with HB 675 and black and white aspects. We're gonna aggressively continue with the Discovery Committee to pursue a tentative May 2025 ballot issue of research recommends consolidation. We have a meeting again tomorrow at 8:30, and that is with Sanderson Stewart. They want specifics again to it, so it'll be Ming, Bo, Jeff, and myself going down there to meet with them. And so the only other one that'd be left would be KLJ then. And so once we get that done, then they will give their presentation to us, and then we will select one of the engineering firms to do bring everything together and bring the third party person involved in it. So when we were leaving, Bo and I were talking to Travis, and he recommended that he figured it would probably be in the neighborhood of 200,000 to get the project done. That's why I said 100,000 will be our 50-50 part. Did I miss anything, Bo?
Well, I don't think it's in our budget, unfortunately.
No, that's
one of the things.
that's one of the things we would need to get put on there as a line item for that.
And I talked, I don't know, it was with you on the budget is very comprehensive. One is the technical portion of the feasibility operation. And then you have the business. But I thought the engineering firm would be obviously well suited to do the exploratory technical issues. But as far as publicizing and getting necessary vote in the community, we need 60% voting for this. Require somebody else than an engineering firm, I think, that supplies the technical. And I wonder if we could get somebody else involved with either marketing it, fit or something to sell the idea. Yes.
And I think you raise an excellent point, but, you know, I think with the quarterly budget reviews, we would need to take that up because during the process that, you know, it could be come to naught and, you know,
Can be dropped.
couldn't get to a point where we put it on the May ballot, so there's no sense.
Right.
We can deal with that. in
It'll
the
be
budget.
divided into two. One is,
Yes,
this is good or bad or indifferent. Because the difference, I think, is a lot of money. The initial, what we asked for a bit. And I think this engineering firm, they have to go to a third party to get that publicity. And I don't think they're necessarily good at that. And we need 60% to make it fly.
Where did the 60% come from? There's nothing in 675 that requires a ballot.
51% or decision or 51%.
In the community,
But
we
it's not
need
in,
more than.
it isn't in the statute. There's nothing requiring a public vote in the statute.
Okay,
Why are we taking it up?
I have no clue. You can't.
we will move on to the next agenda item, which is reinvestment for the CD.
well, I'm just gonna throw out a motion. Because we've got some potential budget amendments coming up. If this second meter connection turns out to be viable. You know, that's, you know, an easy $500,000 there, you know, I would just. You know, if you look at what the short-term investment pool is making in interest right now. It's more than we're gonna get locking it up for 3 or 5 years. So I'd like to move that all the maturing CDs. You know, for the next 90 days, go into the short-term investment pool. You know, this board can always come back at any meeting and review that and move the money back to the CDs. Or some other investment policy.
Second, Jeff's motion.
I'll second.
Just swap whoever we do
Yeah.
the first one to.
So the average that the short-term investment has paid in 2024 is 5.38% per month or yield. So that is higher than, and then we're not paying an additional fee for money.
Any questions, sir?
Yeah, my question on that is, what did the consultant say on that, short term? What was their recommendation?
They recommend a longer term,
That's what I would assume.
because they feel that current high rates are going to go down. And they want to lock it in. What is it? I'm not sure, but for longer than a year. So nobody knows where the rates are going, but they still seem to hold steady, if not going up. So I think it's prudent to take advantage of the higher rate. Right now, but our advisor kind of thinks longer term, lock it up for 2-3 years. And
I
I
understand.
don't know, it's the board's decision.
I understand it sounds so great, 5.3%. I got short terms. But when your consultants tell you this is what you should do, I don't think we are educated enough to make that decision, or that's what they do on a daily basis. And I would recommend that we go for the longer term.
And moved and seconded. Any further discussion, public comment? Seeing none. Take a vote. All in favor of the motion, which was for a short term up to 90 days, correct?
No, put it in,
To roll,
To roll it over
roll
90
it
days.
over into everything that's coming due or has come due into the short-term investment pool for the next 90 days.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed,
Nay,
2 noes. Okay. Now we'll move on to new business, and item number 1 is the appointment of the board member to the open director seat. That would be open for a month.
I move Laura Driver, fill the seat. She vacated for 5 minutes.
I second that.
Then moved and seconded. Laura, replace Laura. Do a roll call
I would like discussion.
vote. Okay, go ahead.
I'd like discussion.
Laura has been a great asset to this board, but I'm gonna vote no on it because I'd like to put her to work in a different fashion for this board. We obviously have a lot of financial issues that the board has got to deal with from an investment and banking fee standpoint, a lot of other things. I would like the ability for this board to consider employing Laura as a secretary treasurer. We have that right under state statute according to my review. And take some of that load off of our new general manager, who is obviously drinking from a fire hose, so to speak, from a learning standpoint, and trying to provide information to this board. So I think it would be a great way to use her until, the next election cycle. Anybody can run at that point. But I'm gonna not oppose the motion because I oppose Laura, but because I think her talents can be put to good use for this board and not the fashion.
Any other comments? Wayne?
I just want to thank everybody that has applied for it because it's hard to sit through a 4-hour meeting. Anybody that has the patience there, I'd love to shake your hand. You're all great. I don't want to say anything about that, but everybody's so worried about salaries. Another salary here, the talent that Laura brings to the table on the board is the reason for the second, and she knows the ins and outs of the CDs, the financials. It's something that's pretty much ingrained with her, so I'd rather see her on the board rather than put another salary.
Any other discussion? Roll call vote.
Lee,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes,
Doug,
No.
Jeff,
No,
Frank,
No.
Pam.
No.
Motion fails. The other motion,
I make a motion that we appoint Greg to fill that spot.
is there a second?
I'll second it.
Discussion. I mean,
I'm gonna oppose it because of the fact that I like Craig very well, but he's a part of the city, has been part of the city. We're moving towards consolidation, with this kind of vote. We're not even sure we're gonna get that because it sounds like the board even wants to not even ask the ratepayers whether this is gonna happen, on a vote. So, I'm not sure, Greg, but being part of the city with the other four members here, this consolidation is not gonna cost $100,000, I guarantee it. It's gonna be $500,000 to $1 million just to get the planning done.
any
For
other,
We need to go.
comments? Greg Ressman.
I don't think Mr. Urbanbach has ever been an employee of the city of Billings. He's an employee of
I
the
thought you were
county.
with the building.
County,
County.
Okay, I'm sorry, with the count. Then I'll change everything, reiterate the count.
Thanks.
Same thing.
I would just say the district is incredibly blessed with the candidates that apply, goodness sakes. I mean, I can't really say that, and they're just so strong, so we're just fortunate and we're winning no matter what.
Any other comments? Going once?
Oh,
Well, I second you, basically. I really like the representations here. I like the background. I like where he was coming from. No offense, Greg. Laura, you were elected by the people at large. That's why. I second it. This was Mr. Bluefish, to be honest. I thought his background, his presentation was much better.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote?
Wayne,
No,
Tom,
No,
Doug,
Yes.
Frank,
yes,
Jeff,
yes.
Pam.
Yes.
4-3 vote, and we welcome Greg to the board table.
Not till June 1.
first Monday in June.
Right.
Okay,
That's 4-2 vote.
Oh, I said 4-1. 4-2. 42. Okay, other new business? Anybody wanna dive into any of this? Tom?
I move we postpone the rest of the items on weekends until next month. It's getting late.
I think we need to approve the signer on the FIB account.
Approve what?
sign on the first interstate.
Thank
that's
you,
right.
general manager. Can we deal with that with Tom and then with on the rest of them?
I don't see that on.
Right?
It's not,
It didn't get included, but it
Well,
has to be done.
It was, he covered it in the general manager's report. We agreed to take it up in new business, so, yeah.
So it's not on the agenda. I need to take action on something that's not on the agenda.
It's just been a housekeeping thing anyway, so,
Something he goes on.
Hmm?
Somebody go on.
they take it off now. Elbow.
So there's been a vacant spot.
right, okay, so you wanna move on? Oh, something.
I move by acclamation that we get Bo on the FIB account.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded to put roll on by acclamation. Anyone opposed to signify by saying aye. Otherwise, opposed? Yeah, that's what I said, opposed.
It's getting late.
Motion has passed. Tom,
Last December, we voted a pay raise, and had a major discussion about whether pay raises would happen at the first of the year, or whether they would happen along with the budget. And the consensus that I got at that meeting was they would have happened at the budget. So next month, there should be an item on the agenda for employee pay raises. This is district employees, not board employees. This is only 6 months from the last pay raise, so I'll keep that in mind.
Any other business to come before the board? If not, new announcements, work session June 5th at 9 a.m. Some tells me they got something going that time. But I will accept that. And next board meeting is Wednesday, June 19th.
And for both, let's don't have too much fun over there. Remember, you gotta come back.
We're still gonna be.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you very much for welcoming me. It's really, I will not disappoint you guys.
What time are you getting the airways?
Tomorrow.
What time?
Tomorrow's not a time. Well, after we have a meeting with the city, so I asked the United Pilot to hold.
On the 10:30 flight or the new?
No,
You adjourn?
this is at,
Did they adjourn?
1 o'clock. Tom, from,
Did you officially adjourn?
to,
Congratulations. You're gonna do a great job.